Hello, gamers! Fast Movie Like, thank you so much for the following on Guess Again, Girl Boss, and BFD, thank you so much for the 9 PlayStations. Let's go. So, oh fuck, I forgot to download the thingy. Hold on. Not that anything important, but like, you know how I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do my schedule and show you guys my schedule on Sundays. I did do it. I just forgot to download it. So, this is the first time, so as many of you know, I am currently working on a 3D debut. And, oh, this is gonna need to be fixed. There's a lot of testing that needs to go with that, right? So, one of the things, this is why we're testing it before we do the big one, right? Because I wanted to see if I could get my hand tracking working, and it's mostly working, but there's a little bit of an issue there. Slight of listen, we're still working some things out. Do I have legs? I do have legs. I don't have the trackers on for the legs. I am gonna be having full body tracking. My plan is we're gonna start doing some VR Skyrim stuff and modded VR Skyrim where I'm gonna have full body tracking. Proof that I don't actually. No, I do. It's just the tracker's on my boobs, and I don't know how to fix it. But that's why we test, okay? That's why we test, okay? So that way we can work out all the kinks. But I do have like, I'm afraid if I like show you my legs, it's gonna like, I'm not gonna be able to. Oh, why did I get so close? Ooh. Okay. Here. Skort. How do I? Wow. Hello. These are my legs. As you can see, we are still thickums. I said, do not make me skinny, or I will shit myself. But these are, ta-da! These are the legs. So they will be moving and grooving. I just can't do like full body tracking and face tracking at the same time. So that's kind of the skinny with that right now. But yes, thick thighs save lives. I'm ready to crack open some watermelons or heads with my thighs, whichever you guys asked me for. So I do have thighs. We're just we're saving them for when I do we're saving them for when I have the full like tracking setup on for the other stuff. That's the skinny I see. Thank you. So the one thing I still need to work out is I don't want to get too TMI. This may come as a shock. I do have boobs in real life, okay? And the problem right now is I need to change the settings so I stop no clipping through my tits. What? I know, it's crazy. But I need to change the settings so I stop no clipping through my tits. But I also, the one thing that I want to figure out how to do is when I turn my hands around. I grabbed my boobie. I'm sorry. I keep seeing all these like Twitter posts that are like VTubers when all their jokes are about sex. I'm like, I need to tone it down, okay? The VTuber community is not sending their best, and by I mean their best, I mean me. I'm contributing to the stigma that all VTubers do is sex jokes. I need to chill the fuck out. But the other thing I need to fix is I can't, when I turn my hands around, it doesn't. Oh, now it's working. Perfect. Okay. So that was well, that's working. So we're good now. I just wanted to flip people off because I thought it would be funny, and I'm the worst. The only other thing I want to fix is my mouth is really wide. Like, oh, the one thing that is cool though, and if you've seen any of the other 3D streams, that we've been testing stuff with. Hold up. I'm about to be really disgusting. Is that okay? Maybe not. Actually, I think we're good. I thought I was gonna burp, but then I didn't, so it's okay. But the one thing I still need to figure out, I think that was it actually. Yeah, I need to, you like the big mouth? Oh, yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to show you guys. Check this out. I'm about to be so disgusting during the Jasper playthrough of this bad boy. Just wait, can I move it? Girl, what that mouth do? I'm sorry. But we are still testing some things out. And I had a few people ask me, like, how's 3D debut going? And I don't want to say it's going like bleh. I don't want to say it's going like bad, because it's not. It's just one of those things where it's like I had everything in order, and then everything in my life set on fire. So a lot of stuff's delayed. The bad news is we're probably not gonna have a full 3D concert yet, because I've looked into it. I've been doing a lot of research, and I'll be honest, like I don't want to rush the 3D debut, but there's also part of me that's like, I want to make sure I still have time for Skyrim model debut on my. Okay, we gotta fix. This is an issue. This is. Hold on. Let me see. Is there a way I can just move that to? Let's see. There's a button. Oh God, which one is? Here we go. Z is forward or backward. So maybe more forward is the answer. Oh no, that just put it backward. Okay, maybe less. Wait, what happens if I do this now? Oh, now that's that. Oh wait, now I can grope you, chat. Give me your balls, chat. Give them to me. I'm sorry. That was a joke. Do not give me your balls. Please do not send me unsolicited dick pics. I will make fun of them. Unless, wait, no, maybe you're into that. I don't know. Anyway, let me see. What if we do like, maybe like this one? No, that's, okay. David's in the background going, Evie, please stop. Okay, maybe that's, oh, I think I fucked it up. Oh, how do I, wait, no, go back. Okay, 0. Okay, there we go. Okay, maybe 0.1. Okay, 0.11. Okay, 0.111. Aha! Oh, shit. Okay, maybe 0.2. 0.23. A little bit more. We're good. You're good. I'm just typing random numbers. Oh, fuck! Okay, wrong button. Okay, 0.2. 2. Okay. God, what did I do? Okay, reset, everyone. Okay, you know, we might just no clip into the titties today. Okay, and that's fine. It's fine. I'm sure I can figure it out. I'm a very smart cookie. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, not perfect, but we're getting there, right? And that's the little green thingy. That's like meant to resemble where my tracker is, right? So I actually got this tracker back in fucking what was it? I got it in like 2020 when I first started streaming way back when, and before I even had like a before I even had a 2D model, I used to use this bad boy all the time, and I was really glad I didn't throw it out, because now we can put that shit back into place. Consent is assumed upon hitting the follow button. No. Don't send dick pics unless you want to be degraded, and if you like being degraded, then send me like $5 with it. I don't know. But the big thing we want to figure out today is this shit gonna work with Skyrim? That is the big thing we must figure out, is can I Skyrim with this bad boy? That's what we need to know. Okay, is this like too large? I don't know. Let's scale her down a little bit. Just a wee bit. I think that's okay. Okay, so let's see how it goes. If it lags, we're gonna have to disable the hands. We're gonna have to turn them off. But I kind of just, I want to see. I want to fuck around and find out. So before we get going, let me make sure my desktop audio is turned on, BGM turned off, bada bing, bada boom. All right, let's get cooking. So last time we played this save was not on a Sunday, because I've been kind of a bad noodle lately. I have not been playing this save only on Sunday. I am very sorry. The fuck was that?
My, nothing gets the blood flowing like delivering meal orders for villagers.
What the fuck are you guys talking about? What? Okay, anyway, but I did not play this save on a Sunday. I'm sorry. Last week was a lot for me. And honestly, Skyrim is my coping mechanism. So I ended up playing a lot of Skyrim because it brings me joy. But we did our like baby fight against Alduin. We didn't defeat Alduin, but we kind of like got a preview of it. I sang Bohemian Rhapsody poorly while fighting Alduin because it just felt right. And we also started some vigilance stuff. We did some questing. We accidentally killed ourselves. And by kill ourselves, I mean we accidentally went into a different plane of existence and couldn't leave. That's what I mean there. But yeah, it was very eventful last time. Our boy Parthenax is chilling. I'm glad you're doing what's best for you. Thank you, gamer. But as always, welcome in everybody. If I didn't see you, I got kind of excited with my hands at the beginning. I'm glad you're here, and let's get cracking. Okay, so first thing we need to do, we're already here with the main quest, so I feel like we should just keep going, low-key. Let's just keep going, fuck it. Jarl of Whiterun, bless up. Let's head to Dragon's Reach and see what our man, Ulfric has to say. Hi, Yara! Welcome in, gamer! Skyrim said exactly what I need after surgery. How'd your surgery go? I hope it went well. Well, if it didn't go well, you probably wouldn't be in Twitch chat, but I hope it went well! I'm sorry. But, thank you for being here. Did you die? Yeah, that's it. Wait, Lydia has a treat for me? What is it? What'd she give me? Gold ingot 3 and iron ingot 2. Oh my god, how'd she know? That's so sweet. Oh my god, she really knows how to grind my gears affectionately. Alright, is that a giant rat? That's my dog! Don't be mean to my dog. Wait, let me find him. Where is he? That is the one thing I like about my 3D model is I can be a lot more expressive. Like if I'm angry, I'm angry. If I'm sad, sad. You know, like it's so easy to be expressive. I don't have to press a button. I just kind of like do it. It went well, and thanks for asking. Yeah, awesome, cool. But that's my dog, Scritch. He's a good puppy, very good puppy. So let's talk to Mr. Jarl Balin and see what where is he? Jarl Balin? Jarl Balin? Where is he? Oh, he's probably upstairs. I remember. He's uppies. Okay. Let's go get uppies from Jarl Balin. My favorite thing to do. Oh, I forgot there was like this whole other room over here. Oh, hey. What you guys doing here? Having fun? What do these little flags do? Boop. Oh! This will initiate open civil war? I don't think I've ever done open civil war. Not now? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Let's not mess with that quite yet. Is there anything good in here though? Any like goodies I can take? Any books I can just borrow for my personal? All these are not real books. Okay. Oh, the floor is raving. That's okay. I need to fix some other mod stuff because they're Hi. Petting domestic cats. Okay, we did add the cat mod last time. Now, very important mod is cat mod. We added the cat mod. But welcome in, everybody. After you get the crown and take over your first town. Oh, yeah, there was a mod I found for another playthrough that I want to use. It was we always talk about how like cool it would be if you could start your own faction in the Civil War and do your own thing. And I finally found a mod for it. We're not going to use it anytime soon just because if I add a mid playthrough, it will fuck with everything. But we may add it for a future playthrough down the line. I posted it in the Skyrim channel of the Discord if you want to check it out. I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Yeah, that's my one hesitant thing about it is it probably fucks with a lot of shit. So it might be one of those things where I make a mod list around it specifically. You know what I mean? But welcome in, everybody. Hello. This is the one thing where like I did miss about my 3D model. It was like such a little thing, but like, I don't know why I just like waving hello to people. I think it's really cute, you know? Unhappy cats have a tendency to run away if not given enough attention. Oh my god, me too. Can I pet it? Good kitty. Good kitty. Yes, it was Conquest of Skyrim. Oh, good wait. Oh, we're almost able to level up. Oh, we can level up. Oh, goddamn. All right, health. And, oh god. Yeah, I did not expect the speech increase. Let's see. Do we have anything else for... Wasn't there... Raw power. We can't get raw power 3 quite yet, so I don't know what we want. Probably more an enchanting low-key, just because I do want to do more with that. Scrolls are too... I don't use scrolls. Soul Siphon... That blows with enchanted weapons to creatures, but not people. Trap 5% of the victim's soul, recharging the weapon. Let's do this. You may. I don't know. What are some of these? I don't use spells. I use learning an item's enchantment does not rejoice. I just want my enchantments to be stronger. So let's do gem dust, I think. You may choose to destroy a flawless gem when you begin the enchanting process and sprinkle its dust on the arcane enchanter. Ooh, okay, we can do that. We have a lot of flawless gems already, so I think that'll be fine. But anyway, now that we're done talking to that cat, let's do the important thing. It looks heavily Mountain Blade inspired. Mountain Blade is one of those games I've always wanted to play. I think I tried it once for like 30 minutes and then I got confused and I stopped playing it. But I feel like if I like learned how to do it, I'd enjoy it. Like, it's not like I can't enjoy complicated games. Like, I love RimWorld. I'm not good at RimWorld, but I understand it enough to like enjoy it. I feel like Mountain Blade is one of those things where I just have to like take some more time with it to know what the fuck I'm doing, you know? Yeah, isn't there a collection for Bannerlord? If I recall correctly, there is. Let me just sit right down. Hey, bro, what's poppin'?
It's good to see you.
I'm playing it
again.
right now. I saw Mountain Blade at Office Max. Damn. Yeah, I need to try it because I like fantasy games. Like, that's my big thing. Is if you can be like, oh, this game's like Skyrim, I'm probably gonna enjoy it. Honestly. I need to trap a dragon in your palace.
I must have misheard you. I thought you asked me to help you trap a dragon in my palace.
They robbed me and scattered my people. Oh, well, it happens. It's not really fancy unless you mod it. Let me rephrase it. I like medieval era games, right? If it'll make me want to go to the Renaissance Festival, I probably fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like, if I can wear a cool dress, have a sword, and frolic in a field and kill people, I'm in. If you lose, they take your clothes. Well, it's just like real life. No, I'm kidding. That's bad. I'm sorry. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important.
Of course. You already
Yeah,
saved
why would
my
I lie
friend
about
from
that?
the dragon.
There's also
I
nude and
owe
bang
you
mods. Of
great
course there is.
But
You
I
can probably
don't
find nude
understand.
and bang mods for
Why
like,
let
oh,
the
it's not
dragon
as
into the heart
advanced.
of my
Oh, if it's
city
not
when you've
advanced
been
sex
working so
having,
hard to
then
keep them
I'm
up?
not in. No, I'm kidding. The threat is worse than you know. Alduin has returned.
The world eater
Why is
himself.
my background music so loud? Do you
How
hear
can
that?
fight him? Doesn't
It's
his
so
return
fucking
mean
loud.
it's
I'm
the
like,
end
Balgruff,
time?
what the fuck are you saying? Skyrim 6 is higher tech than NASA has access to. Yeah, you're right. You're actually so right. It's only hopeless if we give up. Yippee!
I didn't say anything about giving up.
Yeah.
Now what's this nonsense
Can you speak
about
up,
trapping
please?
a dragon in my palace?
It's only the only way to fight Alduin before it's too late.
I want to help you, Dragonborn, and I will. But I need your help first.
What do you need me to do?
Oh, frickin' General Tullius are both
Oh,
just waiting for me
it's
to
Civil
make
War
a wrong
time.
move. Do you think they will sit idle while the dragon is slaughtering my men and burning my city? No. I can't risk
Become the
weakening
bandit
the city
overlord,
while
destroy
we are under
villages.
the
I might
threat
need
of
to check it
enemy
out
attack.
again. I know David really likes
Sorry.
Mountain Blade, so I wonder if that's something him and I could do together. We haven't done another. The reason we haven't done like streams with Dave more often is getting the audio to work is such a fucking pain. Just because it's like he's on his computer, and we have two mics, but we're in the same room, right? So it makes things really like annoying to set up, and it's hard to get it to sound good without sounding like shit. If you didn't have to worry about an enemy attack.
Then I would be glad to help you with your mad dragon trapping scheme.
I think that's why
Getting both
Starfield is
sides
bad.
to
No war
agree to
crimes
a
or
truce
sex.
will be difficult at this.
Honestly,
The bitterness has gone too
based
deep.
opinion. Based
Maybe.
opinion.
What of the Greybeards?
Do you mean
They are
modding for
respected by
Mountain
all
Blade or
lords.
modding for Starfield to
High Hrothgar is neutral territory.
I've heard
If the
Starfield doesn't have a lot of
Greybeards were
mods
willing
quite
to
yet.
host a peace council, then maybe Ulfric and Tullius would have to listen.
Starfield is bad for a lot of reasons. I don't know. I'm just like, there's part of me that's
Aye,
like want to
Dragonborn.
try it, but I
Maybe
feel like
you
with
can stop
Starfield,
the
it's not gonna be one of those games where it's like
and
it's so bad it's
restore
good.
it
I
back.
feel like it's just gonna be boring. Like if I could meme on it, that'd be one thing. But if I'm just like, it sounds like Starfield's just a lot of sitting. You know, and some people like that. You know, some people like, you know, it's like farming sim in space. And don't get me wrong, I love a good farming sim. I fuck with Stardew Valley. But like, I don't know, you know? All the Starfield mods are mostly fixes and patches. So I can't have big tits on the moon? Call me when there's big tits on the moon, and then I'll play it. Alright, are we ready?
My men will be ready when you are, Dragonborn. You have a truce to arrange first, eh?
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Let me fucking, I'm sorry. The fucking music is so loud. Can we? There we go. That's better. Starfield, do not touch, not until they fix it. I don't know. I heard a rumor that, like,
That went quite well.
Bethesda, and I feel like it's not a rumor. I feel like it's obvious, honestly, that Bethesda is purposely trying to make Skyrim modding as difficult as possible so people will come play Starfield. Which is, like, crazy to me because it's like, they're not even remotely the same. Like, even if Starfield was, like, fucking awesome, god tier game, they're so different in terms of the genre. You know what I mean? Like, just because someone likes, like, I'm not a big sci-fi person. Even if Starfield was, like, the best game on the planet, even if buying Starfield meant that Todd Howard came to my house and personally sucked my dick, I think I'd still be hesitant to play it because I'm just not a big sci-fi person, you know? I like Star Wars. That's about it, you know? I like I said, I need Renaissance Festival vibes, okay? I like medieval shit. I like swords. And even with Cyberpunk, like, I like Cyberpunk. I don't like shooters, like, right? I like swords. I like magic, you know? And Starfield just isn't that, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not the same. So I don't understand why they want people to play Starfield so bad, especially Skyrim fans, because it's just, if it was another fantasy game, then yeah, but it's not, you know? A lot of people, I'm sure there's a lot of people that like fantasy and sci-fi, but I know for a lot of people it's kind of either or. You either really like fantasy or you really like sci-fi, and like, I really like the fantasy genre, so I'm gonna keep doing it, you know? God, this is gorgeous. I love Whiterun. I love Whiterun so much. It's so pretty. Characters was horrible. I remember,
What are you looking at?
they gave Braith the little
Crows,
bow.
dogs, elders.
Oh, she's so cute. I know she's the worst, but she's adorable. Okay, let's see. We need to do this one. We'll kind of do all these. We'll just kind of do this just to see what's up, what's down, what's in the direction, you know? So, because I know the big thing we need to do is arrange the truce. But yeah, I think we'll be fine. They fumbled. They don't even have lightsaber type of weapons. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like there's just a lot of missed opportunity with it. You know what I mean? That's the thing is, I feel like with realism in games, is it's like, I get we want things to be realistic, but I feel like if you make things too realistic, then what's the fucking point? Right? Like, video games for a lot of people, myself included, are escapism. If it's too real, then you know, then you can't really, it's harder to have that escapism element. You know what I mean? And people will say like, oh, well, in real life, you know, space travel is actually boring. Well, yeah. So I don't want that to be realistic. I don't need, you know, and I feel like with Skyrim, the reason people like hyper-realistic stuff is because they played it so long, right? If they feel like, this might be a hot take, I feel like if Skyrim launched with like hyper-immersive eating, drinking, survival aspects, and it wasn't like optional, I feel like not as many people would enjoy it, right? But that's the thing, is you have the time to explore the game, to enjoy the game, to appreciate the game, and then you want more. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, you know? And I get that everyone has different, you know, different strokes for different folks, right? I get that. But I don't know if that makes sense. You know, I feel like with Starfield, if they want it to be super hyper-realistic from the get-go, give us reasons to enjoy the game outside of that. Then we can fuck with that. You know, I don't know if that makes sense. Don't get me started on my no, it isn't realistic. Listen, if you want to pop off, King, pop off. Like, if you want to pop off, pop off. That was some Star Wars type thing, but it's just you working for the future NASA. Yeah, like, I give me Star Wars. Give me battles. Give me, you know, victory and grandeur. You know, I don't care if it's not realistic. Let me fucking alien, okay? I don't care if it's not realistic. That's not the point, you know? Well, he escaped. I need to find his portal to Sovngarde.
I feared as much. I thought it was him we saw flying east after your battle.
Yeah. I need your help. I need to capture a dragon.
We are not warriors. What is overlooked in the Dragonborn?
Major thing that would make Starfield better.
permitted
Give me a
to
damn
any
cell
other
phone.
followers
Yeah, we have
of the
space
way
travel, but I can't
voice.
whip out my iPhone.
You misunderstand our authority.
Respect my
The Greybeards
authority.
have never involved themselves in political affairs.
How is capturing a dragon political? Well, I mean, yeah, the war and stuff, but like, can we just chill for a moment? Like, I feel like there's more important things.
The dragon will lead you to Aldwyn, but without the Jarl's help.
Both sides respect the Greybeards. They will listen.
Paarthurnax has made the decision to help you.
Yeah, Paarthurnax is
This
a homie.
is the road
He
we
likes
have
me.
to walk. Even the Greybeards must bend to the winds of change, it seems. So be it. Tell Ulfric and General Tullius that the Greybeards wish to speak to them. We will see if
Okay.
they still remember us.
It should only work when you're on a planet then? I mean, that makes sense. You probably wouldn't, well, maybe you would, I don't know. But like, I get the idea. I feel like that could be an interesting mechanic. Is like, when can you use it, when can you not? You know, that could like have some cool choices. But don't like completely like get rid of the option, you know? Alright, are you ready to host the Peace Council?
Deliver the message to the warring parties. If they will listen, I will do what I can to bring them to terms.
Okay. Alright, let's see.
Wind, guide you.
Wait, is there not
Wind,
more I could do there?
Guide you.
I thought I
Deliver the message to
I
the
guess I have to
warring
talk to them
parties.
first then?
If they will listen.
Yeah, okay, I'll talk to them first and then we'll see what's up. Starfield's gigantic but so empty. That's what I've heard. Is it's like, yeah, there's a lot, but it's not interesting, you know? Wasn't that like one of the things they said? It's like, oh, it's not realistic for every planet to have something cool on it. It's like, well, then what's the point, you know? Why bother? Skyrim feels alive while I'm just walking around. Exactly. No, I totally get you. Alright, let's go, I guess we'll talk to Ulfric first, then we can go do this, and then we can go do this, and then hit the museum back up on the way out. Yeah, I think that sounds good. Let's see if there's any more quests we can... Let's just do this, just to... I know I'm gonna regret this, but just to, like, see if there's any other mini quests we can knock out on our way. I know I don't want to do Passionate Priestess. Don't want to do that one. Yeah, we'll do this. I love your map UI. Thank you. I use the one from Immersive and Epic. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, unfortunately. So if anyone knows, feel free to chime in. Let's just do the... I know I'm gonna regret this. I know. We're not doing Forgotten City. I don't feel like it. But just anything else that's like we can do. So let's because we do have a lot to do. Why don't we do this? Let's do Brynjolf's thing. Get the Thieves Guild going. Actually, no, because by the time we get over there, it's probably gonna be nighttime. Let's actually do this, and then get our way going up there, right? Just to start, bless you, David. Just to start knocking out some quests. Yeah, we'll go to the Oblivion Gate first. We'll hold off on Thieves Guild. I think we'll focus on like our next major thing, be like completing the main story, Civil War stuff, what have you, and then we'll go. Oh, hello. Hello. What the fuck? Hello. Oh, I didn't. Oh, I forgot I had fucking hotkeys for my spells. I forgot my mouse.
That was good.
I forgot my mouse had the fucking buttons. Would he really did that? Would he really steal? Yeah. I'm a lurk. I gotta go adult and get real food. Oh, well, have fun getting your food. I hope it's very yummy. But yeah, there's a spell that would fit your character. Ooh, what is it? Let's see. So let's head over to the Oblivion Gate. But yeah, I don't think I want to start the Thieves Guild or Dark Brotherhood quite yet. Until we have, until we knock out the main quest and the College of Winterhold. Just so that way we don't have too much big stuff going on all at once. I think that'll make things a little bit easier. So let me make sure I'm going the right direction. Yeah, okay. And let's see what's going on with that Oblivion Gate. That'll be fun. We've done a lot of like big quest stuff lately, so I think doing some more small quest stuff will be fun. So let's see, Khagrenar. Give me my long stride is 6. Okay, so that should be this one. There we go. I still haven't memorized my hotkeys yet for my spells, but I'll get there. So let's see. I know I could buy a horse, but honestly, I feel like I'm so bad with horses. Like, I don't know if that... Oh, hey, bro. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm just, like, not great... Oh, wait, shit. There we go. That works. I'm not great with keeping track of horses. And I know there's mods that, like, make it easier, you know? But it's also, like... You know? Alright, where is it? Running off during daytime. Where's the leader of the Dawn Guard? Talk to Urag, talk to Ulfric Stormcloak. Thought I had it, but maybe I missed it. Let's see. Yeah, it should be right over here, right? There's my little blue dot. Here we go. Is it over the mountain? It's probably over the mountain. Let me see. Keep track of my horse, right? I know there's like a stuff to call it and whatnot, but I feel like I just always like I feel like I always kill it on accident. And then I have to keep buying horses. I don't know. I feel like there's more fun in just like running around. And then like also like horse combat I've never like gotten used to. Daedric horse wouldn't be too bad. But that's the big thing is I don't like horse combat. You know, that's my big thing is I think it's just kind of like mid, I guess. Alright, let me change this because I'm going the wrong fucking way. Let's do this one. Because that is the one downside of adding a shit ton of quests all at the same time. Is I never know where I'm going, but that's okay. It's part of the experience, okay? It's part of the adventure. So where's this fucking Oblivion Gate? I feel like I'd be able to like see it from a while away, but what do I know? Mythic Dawn Guard. Okay, that's probably. Oh shit! Hey, yay, 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 yay. Wait, where'd you go? Get out of there! Come on! Come on! Come on! Get out of there! Oh shit. Okay, I need to heal myself. Drain health, I think? Yeah, okay, there we go. Alright, let's do I think the rest of them got it. We'll let them go through. You can't use spells on horses. Yeah, that's my big thing, is I feel like with this character I feel like I wouldn't get as much use out of it, you know? Let me see. Lockpick. We're still missing bones, which is kind of annoying. There's two right next to us. We want to do this. There's a DBM display item here. Ooh, very cool. All right, let's see. Here we go. Yeah, where did he come from? Let's head inside and see what's up, since there's this cave right here. But I don't think this is necessarily where we need to be, but that's okay. That's okay. Let's see. You can kill her, wear their uniform. Yeah, I don't know. We're just gonna go balls to the walls. I don't really. Oh, hey. She's like.
Shoot, sorry. The recorder's acting up again. Stupid thing.
Oh, what the fuck? Why did that genuinely scare the shit out of me? Okay. Can I snipe her with my own? Haha! Okay. Maybe not the best idea, but a idea nonetheless. Okay, let's head back. All right, go through my minions. Pull up my minions. Okay. No. Yeah, I don't think we're. Oh shit. Here, you guys go on ahead. I'll loot her. Well, later. Where are? There we go. Aha. There we go. I always have to, that's the one thing I don't like about this mod is when you have the blood spells on, you can't really use, you have to like go out of them to use other shit or else it'll drain your blood even if it's not a blood spell, which is a little annoying. Hi Kina! Welcome in, Gamer. We are killing people and looking for Oblivion Gates. Ooh. Okay, let me just, okay, I'm slow. Hey, help! Oh, I forgot I had my women here. Okay, whoopsie. Anyone else over here? There's someone down here. Aha! Let me just snipe her with a knife made out of my blood because that's the most metal shit on the planet. Okay, let's heal myself because I'm stupid. Fuck, that's the wrong one. Why do I still have healing hands favorited? I really don't need that. I mean, it was for my followers, but do we care about my followers? Not really. Except the losses! Let's see. Drain health. We'll do blood drain too. Keep it simple. Alright. Let's pull up now that the tanks are in there. Because that's the thing is, I can't tank. I have more health than I did before. But because of hemomancy, because I kept accidentally using too much blood and killing myself, but I'm still not as thick as like Lydia or anything like that. Alright, give me your ribcage! I need your rib cage. I'll take your torch too. Anything at camp that's good? Let's see. Nothing super great. I mean, I'll take the alchemy ingredients. I'll always take alchemy ingredients. And fish. Okay, let's see. Yeah, looking good? You guys want to go fishing? I know it's a bad time, but we could go fishing. I love to fish. I love fishing. All right, we'll continue on. But yeah, I don't think I've ever actually done this quest before. Or if I have, it's been a really long time. Let's actually head over this way and see what's up. Well, let's see. Hello? Ooh, okay. It's kind of dark in here. Where's my... Yeah, I really need to redo which spells are favorited and which ones aren't. Because a lot of these I have favorited, like, just in case, but they're not actually that good, you know what I mean? Let's see. Hi! Give me your blood! Alright, we're gonna need more. Wait, isn't blood, blood drains an AoE, I think. Alright, let me heal up again. Here, give me some... Shit, not enough. Oh, fuck, what am I stuck on? What am I stuck on? Oh. Okay, there we go. Alright, hello? There we go. Yes, run away! Oh, no, run back away! Oh, the other way, 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 the other way. Oh, okay, that works. Yeah, okay, that's cool, actually.
Yeah,
Ooh,
sorry,
bones!
but you're not worth
Fuck
it to
yeah.
put in
Okay.
my records, so
Let's see. Anyone else? Oh, God. They're doing big shit. Hey, guys, you can go. You guys want to help? God,
I
I'm not...
needed a water bath, but I guess your blood will
Can you
do.
stop being quirky and do your job? They're over there. They're literally... Oh, my God. He's gonna kill me, isn't he? Yeah, do your job. Do your thing. Help me. Help me. What do I keep you here for? To just carry my shit? Kind of. I do really wish Recorder had the same thing Inigo had, where it was like, would you like me to speak less? Because it's like, no offense, girl. Yeah. I do want you to speak less. You're fucking annoying. Jesus Christ. There's a setting for it? Okay. I know there was, it might be in one of the, like, NFF or something. Because I know Inigo just has a dialogue option where you can be like, hey, can you shut the fuck up, please? Thank you. Thanks, bestie. Alright, here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Why is she called Recorder? So her whole bit is she's, quote-unquote, recording your adventure. I don't remember the exact lore, but that's, like, what she's doing. She's recording what you're doing, writing it down to keep track of you, right? The bit is she's from modern day or from a different dimension. She's not from Skyrim. She ain't from around these parts. But that's kind of the bit there. Is she's just silly, you know? Tomato, apple. Yeah, she's a time traveler. That's pretty much it. Because she makes a lot of Final Fantasy references too, I've noticed. Which, like, good for her, you know? Alright, we'll need to summon some more women soon. Nothing in here. Let's go this way. Come on, gang. Into the pit. Yeah. Oh, hey. Damn it, she blocked my shit. Okay, there we go. Stop. I don't heal fast enough. I need to do the one spell where it, like, increases my healing shit. Where it's, or not my healing shit, but just my blood magic. Oh, shit. Oh, she fucking... Okay, bye. She had a little fall there. Whoopsie. Here, let me quick save actually before I eat shit and die. Let's see. Oh, put me facing right towards a wall. Actually, let's do this. Can I? Put him down here. Ah! Okay, there we go. And then Perfect. Okay. Nope, that's how I want it. Okay, boom. Blood spells up. I don't know what this one is.
It would be so much easier if you'd stop squirming.
Perfect. Okay. Tangle spell, your one character was pretty effective. Bro, Severin's and Tangle shit, that was OP. That was so OP. I was like, how is Twink Flower Boy killing all these people? God damn. I miss him. I don't know. I might make him again one day. I might remake him purely for, like, art stuff. Because he is going to be in my book. But I didn't really like the way he looked in game. And I couldn't, like, figure out how to fix that, if that makes sense. Let's see. Probably why the bears went after him? Probably. We have, I think, a copy of their robes already. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Nothing new over here. I thought I saw something, like another way to go, but I might have been wrong. I think it was this way I wanted to go? Yeah. Aha! Okay. Hello, Mythic Dawn. 'Tis I, EB Games, here to fuck up your day. Let's see. Vanos. I don't know why, but like, I read that as like Bono first. Like, I don't want to defeat Bono. I'm not an asshole. Okay. Hello, Bono. I am here with my friends to ruin your life. Where are you, Bono? Bono? Wait, what? Oh, that guy's dick is out. Oh, okay. Let's be careful with that. Let's be a little. Be a little. Don't get too quirky. Okay, where is he at? Oh shit. Okay. Hi, Blacksmith. Welcome, Big Gamer. Okay, minor healing and maybe some more healing. Do we have resist frost at all? Fortify Magicka, Solution Strength. We resist fire, but not that one. Where's he at? Don't do a lot of damage to him. We're doing something, but not as much as I'd like. Okay, is there anyone else? He's all the way over there. I don't know. He did some damage. I don't know if I want to like straight up go up to him. I might let yeah, that guy's dick is out. We'll where are you? I just want to loot this man, please. Oh, Daedric Dagger. Don't mind if I do. Okay, we'll need to loot this man very carefully. Can I put clothes on a dead body? Is that an option? Come here. Okay, he's dead. All right. Let's see. Anything good? Powerful healing. Give me your arms. Didn't really. Oh wait, no, that's not the guy. Where's the guy? Oh, he's all the way up there. How the fuck do I get up there? Okay, here we go. Let's see. Hello? Are you going to have your dick out when you die? Very important question here. Stop healing yourself. That's my thing. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna just. Ugh. I feel like my blood magic doesn't do as much damage as it used to, Loki. Hi, Blaze! How is the inventory? But I don't think the body will equip them if that's what you're asking. That is, yeah, okay. Well, sometimes you have to die with your dick out, I guess. Alright, we have too much shit now, apparently. What did I pick up? Oh, I picked up a Welkin stone. Okay, we have his journal, this. Daedric Dagger, we already have one of those. Here, we have the journal. Let's see what it says, and let's see if there's anything else we can get rid of. I know most of it is probably bones. We might be able to... Okay, do I need 27 left arms? Let's cap it at 20. Okay, we'll drop 7 of those. Yeah, everything's capped at 20, okay? 2 of those. No more feet. We do not need 20 rib cages. She is humming the Dragonborn music. It's a very cute touch. We do not need 23 right feet. Maybe some people do, not me. We have 3 skulls. I think we should be able to make some boners now. I think we should be able to. Girl needs a bone bag. I really do, man. I really do. Okay. The way they just fall. All right, let's take a look. Oh, ain't she a beaut? Okay. Let's see. Where is it? Journal. What the fuck was his name? Bono. There we go. Hi, Bono. The voice of Maroon's Dagon permeates my dreams. At first it was a whisper, but has become a roar inside my skull. The seeds of strife and violence plague this land, the soil enriched by the blood of battle. Sexy. Tamriel will soon be ripe again for the taking, for my vengeance is at hand, the voice says to me. I must heed his voice. What must I do, my lord? I have spent countless hours, countless days in prayer to Dagon. And have heard nothing. I finally took rest and had another dream. Dreams of fire, of smoke, heat upon heat. I was descending into a cavern, further and further down. The heat began to cook and blister my skin. Yummy. But I kept moving, even downward. Fire and smoke, heat and rock. And then I saw it. The very mouth of Dagon, an Oblivion Gate. With a... Wait, does that mean the Oblivion Gates are his mouth? Because I didn't think that was how that works. And I don't want to jump in someone's mouth. I mean, I don't think that's what we're doing, but like... You never know. You can never be too careful, chat. You always need to make sure that if you're jumping into a hole, what kind of hole it is, okay? Visions of dragons. What could be the meaning of this? I woke covered in sweat with a deep sense of purpose. I must. I feel drawn eastward. I must heed the call. Dagon's voice has led me to a cavern deep within the Valathi Mountains. His worshippers used to gather here. I feel their presence. I feel his power. An Oblivion Gate is buried here. I can feel it. It is my destiny to reach it. I will spend night and day with pickaxe in hand until it is freed from this prison of stone. For nearly 2 months, I have toiled, digging deeper and deeper. Oh, man's was strip mining. Stopping only to rest. Stone by stone, inching ever closer to my destiny, ever closer to the fires of oblivion. I don't know why I keep yawning. I'm not, tired. Others have begun to heed Dagon's call and have found their way here, to me, to our Lord. We are high priestesses of the new order, the chosen few who are attuned to his will. As we traverse deeper, the remnants of an ancient mythic dawn temple are revealed like diamond from the rock. Priest Vitus was the first to discover the gate stone. My ecstasy was short-lived, however, when I found like every other gate, it had been destroyed. Still, I could feel his power like heat against my skin. Many other pieces like this are scattered throughout the lands of Skyrim, buried deep, lost to time. We shall find them. We shall open the jaws of oblivion once again. Also, I don't know why my hand just went crazy there. Oh my god, this man, he really has a lot to say. Let's skip to the end. I'm bored. Come on. The dawn is breaking. Damn, that's crazy. Dovahkiin will succeed. You love to hear it. Hope my Ethernet port gets fixed soon. The stream be crunchy. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be crunchy. I'm sorry. Alright. First of all, though, let's loot this guy with his dick out. Don't look at his dick. That's very important. Okay, what you got? I don't... Underwear. I don't think he does, but alrighty then. Alright. Hello. So do I just walk on through? Is it like a portal? Is it like a... What do we... Yep, okay, here we go. Whee! Oh. The Deadlands. Alright, here we go. Whew. Yeah, I don't think he was wearing underwear, chat. I'm sorry. Defeat the Dremora Valkinaz. Okay. Alright, well... Hey, guys! Hope you guys are... Oh, shit. Fleshy pod. Oh, okay. Harada root? Oh. Alright, well, let's go. Bloodgrass. What the fuck is bloodgrass? Hi, Arrow. Welcome in. He was freeballing this whole time? I mean, to be fair, he's dead. So, like... I don't know. If I had to die with my cock out, that'd be rough. I'd say I'd kill myself, but I can't because I'd be dead. What would I do? I don't know. I guess my ghost would haunt them for eternity. Like, what else are you gonna do? Alright. We are over cucumbered again, so we need to drop more bones. We do not need 2 hit bones. I don't think we need the saber cat belt. We might actually for a museum display. We don't need the torch. What else do we not need? I pose myself like a Fallout skeleton. You know what? I respect that. Maybe we don't even need... Here, drop more bones. We don't need this many bones. We can live with less bones, okay? We don't need... Here, let's go down to 15 of each bone, okay? 15 of each bone. We can drop some of these feet. Hi, Julian. Welcome in, get me. Let's see. Yeah, we don't need all these hands. There we go. 15 of each bone. I do not need that many rib cages. I only need like a few, okay? Skeleton army budget's being reduced. Yeah, they... the budget cuts hit us hard, dude. Skeleton boners in this economy? Check Discord, Stinky. Okay, hold on. Let me see. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Where'd you ping me? Okay, cool. Alright, we got plenty of time then. Okay. We will be raiding into Julian tonight because after League of Legends, I'm going to be playing some... Or no, after Skyrim, we're going to be playing in a Clash tournament with my friends. So we'll be raiding into them after Skyrim Sunday. Whoa! Whoa! Okay. Let's see. They make bacon-covered cheesy bread? Oh, fuck. Okay. An army of Argonians to counter invade Halloween the second time. You know, I don't know if I know that many Argonians, but... Pony! My little pony, my little pony. Ah, where? Come back! Wait, no. Where's my fast move? Pony, pony. No, pony, pony, come back. Here, you guys deal with that. I want the pony. your women. My women are stronger than your women. Ha ha ha.
Hey, you're a
Yeah, fuck him up. Where'd the pony go? Oh, wait, what the fuck? It's so weird when other people have the flame Atronox because I'm like, which one's mine?
Skeevers to clean up your
Okay,
mess.
well, skedaddle then. Alright, we don't need any more bones. Anyone else dead? Okay, cool. Spittle stick? Spittle. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, that's, not good. Okay. Now, sorry, I tried to do an alchemy. I'm sorry. Okay, well, if that's a big lake of lava. We will just ignore that and walk the other day. Oh, shit. Hey. Wait, is that that's my pony? No, don't kill the pony! No, I want that pony! I want I want that pony! Here, are you gonna work with the blood spell? Do Daedra have blood? Okay, looks like it. Alright, I gotta be careful about that one. Here, let me heal myself. Okay. There we go. I want to see how many blood points I have left, because I really do want to upgrade my blood stuff again, but I don't feel like I'm doing as much damage as I used to. But I'm also fighting more important people. Ooh, Scourge. Don't mind if I do. We also, okay, we do need skulls. Skulls we do need. We have every other bone. We just don't need skulls. Get a spell book from it.
Nice.
All right, what is Scourge? Summon Daedra. Oh my god, that looks cool as shit. Wait, hold up. That's metal as fuck. I fuck with that. Okay, interesting.
One too many times I went the wrong way.
Cool. All right, somewhere around there. Hell yeah. All right, we'll have to make sure we find it before we skedaddle. It's over here. Nice place you got here. What's this? The punish. What? Can you please?
You look ready to take on just about anything.
I need you to be.
Wish I could say the
Is
same
there
for
really
myself.
not a?
All right.
I really
nice
wish
and
I
funny.
could shut her the fuck up. Are you excited for the Legacy of the Dragonborn update planned for the end of April? Yes, I am. I'm so fucking hyped. I don't know if I'll be able to update right away just because of the. Oh, here we go. Conjure Daedric Horse. Fuck yeah. Okay. Just because of the playthrough, I don't want to fuck up my save, but I am excited to see what's in store. Hi, Lagwolf. Yes, that was the question of the hour in the Discord. Do you guys think David's a tsundere? David's my boyfriend, by the way.
I swear to God.
I think he just proved my point, but that's what I want you guys to think about. Do you think he's ah? Oh my god. Can I not harvest it? There we go. Okay, you know, fine. I'll leave. Jesus Christ. The trees have hands! Yeah, I think David's definitely a tsundere. I feel like if you object to being called a tsundere, you're a tsundere. Like, I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. That's just how it be. Hop! If I missed that, I was gonna fucking scream. Alright, let's see. We need to head over here. There's probably an easier way to... Probably an easier way to do that. Oh, well, let's look at the mode. Hi, Kev! Welcome in, gamer. Let's see. This is not... Okay, local map. There we go. Because that's the way we came. We need to go the other direction, actually. Here we go. I promise I know... Oh, no. They got him. Well, let's actually... Hold on. Let's get the spell, actually. Because now we have Conjure Daedric Horse. Where is it? Spell tome... Aha! Okay, let's see. Conjure Daedric Horse. Conjure... Where is it? Where is it? Summon Daedric Horse. Okay, might be. Pony! Okay. My little pony, my little pony. Next boss is tough. Oh, god damn it. This... I'm bad at video games, man. Okay, how do I even get over there? Do I just have to... Oh wait, if it's a Daedric Horse, can it swim through the lava? I feel like maybe it could. I don't think that's like the worst assumption to make, you know? I guess we're just gonna have to... Can it? No, okay. Maybe we'll go back and around. God damn it. We'll go back and around and see what's going on. I don't know. It's like, oh, okay, Hell Horse. Where? Whoopsie. Sorry. God, everything in here wants to fucking kill me. Stop. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Okay, blood grass. Ah, yeah, blood grass for the blood god. I get it. Wait, no, fuck. Oh, wait, when did you get a horse? The fuck? Okay. Alright. God damn it. There we go. I don't even know what I'm grabbing. I'm just grabbing everything. Alright. Quick save, because I'm gonna get my ass handed to me, probably. Isn't that Shadowmare? No, this is slightly different, but it looks pretty similar. Oh, fuck. What? Where did you come from? Hello? 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 Hey, stop. Stop that. Oh, wait, did he die already? Oh, goddamn. Okay, you guys. Y'all really did that. Okay, I respect it. Oh, there's the big guy. Oh, wait, no, that's... They meant to summon the women. You know what? Yeah. Fuck him up, horsey. Fuck him up, pony. My little pony. My little pony. Murder everyone. Yeah. Okay, where's he at? There you are. Murder everyone. Oh, wait, fuck. I'm killing recorder. Acceptable losses. There we go.
Can we not just agree to
There we go. Come on. Alright, give me your blood. Aha! Okay, there we go. Give him the suck. Yeah, I need to check my blood points after this.
Let's play a game.
He's almost dead. There we go. Torment.
Still standing.
And a skull and a heart. Perfect.
Very clear winner.
There's more of them though. Here, I'll let you guys deal with the flame ladies. Let's see. There's gotta be other shit over here. These little things. Staff of Welling Blood sounds cool. I take the glass sword, but it doesn't have a display, and I'm kind of low on carry space, honestly. We do need to, as soon as we get out of here, we do need to, ooh, can I sit? Oh, well, let me sit. Oh, that's lame. Okay. Well, is there anything else over here, though? That's what I kind of want to see. I feel like there's more, or is this just kind of going to take me back around? I kind of want to check it out. Worst case, there's nothing. Although, yeah, it doesn't seem like there's anything. Yeah, there's more shit over there. What's going on? Here, let's see. Let's summon some ladies. My ladies are strong. I forgot that I had the blood spells out. Okay. One of these moves. Alright. Give me your blood. Give me your blood. Give me your blood. Give me your blood. There we go. I'm slowly but surely healing up. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to out-heal the flames. Although for quarter contain. There we go. Perfect. No, I need to loot his body. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Is it? Oh, did he fall? Oh, give me that. Give me that. Come on. Give me that Daedra heart. Yes. Okay. Perfect. All right. I just feel like there might be more shit here. I don't know. Although my track record with ingredients in this little place is not great. So I don't know how I feel about walking into the forest. Yeah, and there's that big fucking tower over there. What's in there? I want to go in. Okay, let me see. There's gotta be a way to get in the big fuck off tower. There's gotta be. Here, give me back my little pony. My little pony. Where does it go? Here, let me actually do this. Where is it? Where's the pony? Pony? There we go. I think I accidentally spawned it in the ground. Oh well, that's okay. Yeah, there's like a thingy over there. I wanted to see what's over there. What is that? Or is that just where I came from? It might just be where I came from. Here, let's head back in that direction and see what's going on. Whippy! Make the jump! Ha-ha! That might have been a bad idea, actually. You know, Pony, I just need you to be so brave right now. Here, let me get a running start. Maybe we can make the... No, okay. Come on, Pony! Come on, Pony! Yeah! Let's go! Let's go! Yeah, I want to go in there. Or is that where I came from? That very well may have been where I came from. But I don't fucking know. I don't want to see what's up. I feel like there's more going on. Can I get up there? Here, let me see. I mean, I guess if I... Shoes! Welcome in, gamer! Aw, thank you, Shoes. Thank you so much for the 24 months. That's 2 years! Thank you for 2 years of PlayStations! Well, welcome in, gamer. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And thank you so much for all your support. I want to go in the big tower. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try. Because you miss all the shots you... Oh, motherfuck. Okay. Fuck, that's the pony again. Okay, hold on. Why is it not?
Gaslight.
There we go.
Keep
Go,
girl boss.
thank you so much for the follow. Look at the stream. You're not guess. I get keep girl boss. Game is going pretty good. I'm in an Oblivion gate, so I'm in Oblivion. So you know, it's going okay. I want to get in this tower. We killed a bunch of people. We got some cool artifacts, but I want to know what's in here because it looks cool. I don't know if I'm supposed to actually go to it, given the fact that it's behind all these rocks. But I saw it and I want to go there, so I'm going to try to go there. I feel like I should be allowed. So can I? Ebony ore. I guess not. Maybe it is just for show. Oh, that's lame. You can't show me a big fuck off tower and then tell me I can't go in it. That's fucked up. Don't. Ooh, just did a barrel roll there. Ooh, okay. Let's head back. Come here, pony. The one that I didn't throw in lava, ideally. Okay, let's go.
Hey.
Excuse me.
Let's see. We'll get out of here, and then I think we're okay. Want a fun fact about Baldur's Gate 3? Always. I never actually finished Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I want to, but I also just, like, I don't know. I just got so burnt out on it because I played it for so fucking long. And then I got to Act 3, and I was like, I'm done. I don't feel like doing this anymore, you know? Dialogue in Baldur's Gate 3 is triple the words in the Lord of the Rings books. Oh my god, that's crazy. Cutscenes runtime is twice as long as the Game of Thrones series? No way! That's crazy.
Over here.
I mean, if you... Oh, shit, what the fuck? Oh, that guy still got his dick out. Oh, god damn it. Women. Alright. Blood for the blood god. Blood for the blood god. There we go. Okay, it is starting to heal me up just a little bit more. I'm not looking forward to the coming week. That's okay. I definitely have been there. That was me, like, for a while this past few months. Bro, leave me alone. Literally, fuck off. Why is he... Go away. But I promise you'll get through it. I know it seems hard, but once you're out of it, you'll be like, hey, that wasn't too bad. I can do that. I believe you. Alright, here we go. Anything else good? No other artifacts, it looks like. Ooh! Don't mind if I do. Cool rock for my museum. Fuck yeah. Okay. How you guys doing with that guy? Give me your blood. No, stop healing. Never do that again. Thank you. Okay. Anything good here? Vigil Enforcer armor looks cool, but I just... It looks cool, but I don't have the carry weight for it right now. It will absolutely cucumber me. I mean, we could give it to someone else, actually. Let's do that. Let's see.
This place
Who wants big boy armor? Actually, you have really shitty armor, Nico. Do you want better armor? Here. Let's give you some better armor. I know he should probably have light armor since he's an archer, but like, he's better than nothing, you know. Here, take this. It's cool. I think you'll like it. Where is it? Not the Falmer stuff. I need that. Where'd it go? Let's see. Where is it? Bink. Bonk. Oh, I can't give him that much. Hi, Civic Game Server! It's time. I hereby invoke the powers of pestering. Let Dave know it was from yours truly. I'm getting this in now before Easter so I get my virtual forgiveness in time. How do you want me to pester him? He's right there. Like, your wish is my command. I've got the 3D model, too. So, like, bro, I'll go get my full body tracking on if you want me to. I'll pause the stream. I will literally get full body. You know what? Okay. Hold on. If we're gonna do this. Give me 1 minute to get my fucking full body tracking on, and I will fuck something up. I will ruin his day. Here, we'll do a 3-minute ad break just in case, because I don't know how long this is gonna take. But let's give this a try. I'm gonna have to fuck some shit up, but let's give this a try. Give me 1 second. Okay. And you know what? If you're subbed and you have that stuff on, then I will let you experience the fuckery of what's going on. So take the leap motion off. Let's see. Ooh, okay, take this off. Where the fuck is my Mokopi? That actually... That might be the first question. Where are my 3D trackers? Oh, here they are. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. Put these on. Take this. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Take my headset off. Alright, fine. We're gonna try the full body trackers. The mouth tracking and face tracking isn't gonna be as good because of it. But that's okay. So let me turn on the Mokopi app. That is what I use for my 3D tracking, by the way, is I use Mokopi. It is by Sony. It's not super expensive. It looks really silly when you use it, but that is okay. That's part of the experience. So let me make sure. Oh shit, I fucked it up. Let me make sure they're all connected, and we'll give this a try. All right, let's do this. Let's change my scene in Warudo. Fuck, I did not expect this today. I mean, to be fair, he did tell me he was gonna do this. Let me see. Open scene. Let's see. Let's do this one. And then let's give this a try. Make it a good one. I'm gonna do my best, bro. I'm gonna do my best. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. They're connecting. I have to make sure my little trackers are connected. I mean, this is a 3D test stream, so it's not entirely, like, completely unorthodox, but hey, we'll see if the full body tracking works with fully modded Skyrim running, okay? It could not. We're gonna see what happens, but either way, we're gonna see what happens, okay? I might look really silly, but that's okay. That's why we test, right? That's why we test. Oh, fuck, my hips aren't working, apparently. Let's try that one again. My hips are broken. That's okay. It's kind of expected. Let's see. This could break the stream. Continue. It very well could. Alright, let's see. Alright, put on the head one. You'll hear like a little snap when they... There we go. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, head, shoulders, knees and toes, and eyes and ears and mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees and toes, Oh shit, am I missing one? Oh fuck. Okay, this could be an issue. Because one of them is not in the box. That could be a problem. Because those are like $400, so if I lost one, that's gonna be a little rough to replace, but we can... I'm sure it's around here somewhere. I'm sure it's fine. Okay. Wrist ones. Invisit EB. Yep. Oh, fuck. Okay, this could actually be a big problem because there should be more of these here than there are. Okay. Let's, where the fuck did it go? That could be an issue, actually. I'm kind of glad this happened because if some of my trackers are missing... Well, it's not the trackers are missing, it's the little holders for them. It could be fucking... Ooh, that's not good. That is not good, actually. Because they were all in the box. At least I thought they were. Unless... Let's see. This could actually be a big problem. This could be a big fucking problem. Because they're supposed to be... Wow, that actually... Okay, that is kind of freaking me out. I don't know why... Two of them are gone. That's not good. Because I'm missing a wrist tracker and my hip tracker. I don't know where it is. Two of my Mokopi trackers are gone.
Like the actual tracker?
Not the tracker, the holder for them.
Like the little elastic bands, yeah?
Yeah, these things. I'm missing one for my wrist, the hip clip, and one for... Yeah, it's just those two. I don't know where the fuck they went, but they were in the box right there where I've always kept them. So I don't know where they are, and I'm trying to annoy you effectively. But that's a little difficult when...
So first of all, I don't know what your plan to annoy me is.
Well, that's for later.
Oh, okay, well, shit.
Mind your business. Mind your business and help me, David.
It directly pertains to me. I feel like it's my business.
Mind your business and help me, David!
Well, which is it? Do you want me to mind my business or help you? Okay.
Yeah. You decode that.
Okay.
So we're missing one that like looks like this. It's like a little strap. And then we're missing one that's like a clip that goes on my back.
Could they be under your desk?
It's possible. I would see if they've fallen under the thing where they go. Let's see. Chat, my office is very messy. But god damn it, we're going to find them! Because it's like, I don't think any of them fell out of the box as I grabbed it. Let's see. Ugh. But none of them are over here. I think. Maybe them by the boxes? Let's see. Ugh. Ow! I bonked my head. I would check behind there, David.
Okay, move Miku.
There's a Miku plushie in the way. Because one of them looks like that. I am actually freaking the fuck out. Because this is $400 of equipment that I spent with my own money that I worked really hard to... Oh wait, is that one of them? No, okay. God, I hope Jemir didn't eat one. Did Jemir steal them? It's actually very possible.
How the hell would he eat an entire Velcro strap?
I don't know, he's crazy like that. Okay, let's see.
Well, realistically, they need to be in here somewhere. I think we just need to start cleaning up the room, and they'll turn up.
Yeah.
But
I just don't know. Like, I've always kept them in that box. I don't know where the fuck they went. Oh, wait. Is that one? No. Got my hopes up. Let's see. It doesn't help that fucking every article of clothing I own is black. And these are black Velcro strips. Well, this sucks. Here's the thing. If worst case scenario, if I have to buy replacement Velcro strips, that's a lot. I bet buying the clips is a lot cheaper than buying the other shit. They didn't fall at the bottom of the box, did they? No. Like literally, chat, I've kept them at the same fucking place on my desk the whole literally time I've owned them, and I put them away the same place every time too. So I don't know what the McFuck is fucking. Let's see. I'm gonna check one more time. Let's see. Ugh. There's a bunch of card sleeves. Wait! Whoa! Aha!
how the fuck?
They were behind my bass guitar for some reason. Okay. The show will go on. Alright, let's see. Activate my wrist. Bada-beow. Bada-beow. Okay. Now this is the real test, actually. If full body tracking works with Skyrim, that's actually... that's actually a really good thing. Because if full body tracking works with Skyrim, then that could mean... That could mean for some fun things. Okay. I'm not wearing, the proper clothing for this. Because I have to... Well, I kind of am. I'm wearing very form-fitting clothing today. Okay, you found your keys in the fridge? Fuck yeah! Oh, wait, that was a joke. I trusted you. Why would you lie to me? Okay, let's see if this works. So let me press the fucking button on my phone. Okay, confirm. Calibrate, select your height. Oh, fuck, I wasn't ready. It's beeping at me. Okay, that wasn't a joke. Oh, God. You know what? Good for you. Hell yeah. Okay, I calibrate. I have to stand still, and then it'll beep at me, and then I step forward. I promise this will be worth it, chat. Steppy. The only thing that could... Oh, man. Apparently some of them aren't connected correctly. Well, probably because I was fucking about. Step into the bone zone. I'm trying. Okay, previous. Let me connect them again. Okay. It's calibrating. Hi, Bumble. I swear to God, I'm doing something. I'm doing something. I'm trying to do something. Okay, step. Oh, maybe I didn't. Oh, wait, you're supposed to be away from magnetic devices. Oh, it says it worked. Okay, well, I don't. Let me reset. Okay, stay. I'm in my pose. This might be fucked up because I just remembered after doing this. Okay, I have to. I think I have my wrists on backwards. Let's try just giving him a shifteroo.
EB Games breaks wrist in real time.
I think I don't. Is this how that's supposed to go? Okay, I'll try it, I guess. Oh wait, maybe I have to mirror it? Maybe that's what I need to do? Let's see.
You know, I could just walk out of the room right now that I know it's coming.
No, don't do that! Okay,
I can
let's
just
see. Okay. Hello? Is she working? Hello? This is why I'm glad I'm a VTuber. You guys can't. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, okay. Okay. Wow, look how fucking. I'm gonna. I look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Hello! It can't keep up with me. Okay, let me see. Let me try recalibrating it one more time because I think I boofed it, chat. I think I might have fucking like. Why does it think I'm like? I mean, I have back problems, but it's not that bad. Like, god damn it. Okay, reset, recalibrate. Here, I have to stand far away, okay? Because it's not supposed to calibrate near a magnetic device, and this is a computer, okay? All right, calibrate. Okay, let me move my chair out of the way for this. Okay. Steppy. Okay. Haha! Is it working? Okay, start. Motion capture. Don't show my IP on stream. Okay. 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 Oh, I hope I don't accidentally show my underwear. That's gonna be really embarrassing. Okay, I'm trying to like position her so it's like I can be big. Well, I guess. Why does it think I have back problems? Okay, this is chat. This is why. This is why I can't bully David. He's just gonna bully me for my fucking. Is it because of my massive goddamn tits? I don't know. Okay, here here put her on the whole screen. Fuck it. Just expand. Expand. I swear to God, we're gonna go back to playing Skype. I promise. Okay, David.
What?
Come here.
What?
For the bit.
Nah, I can just stay here.
No, you have to come here. It's for the bit.
Nah.
It's for the bit. Does this count as inflation?
What?
I'm not sure.
What?
Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay. You know, I didn't actually think this far out. I didn't know. I didn't think we'd get this far. Okay, David.
Yeah.
Come here,
No.
please.
Nah.
All right. Well, that was option A. Okay. Now we have to go to option B. Okay. What is option B? Well, I could hit you with this metal pipe.
So that would be unadvised.
I think that would kill you. So I don't think
Probably.
I don't think that will follow Twitch TOS
Yeah,
actually.
probably
You know, I didn't think I'd make it this far. Okay, I have an idea. It said Pester Dave, not Brutally Murder Dave.
I feel quite pestered right now, honestly.
Why?
I mean, there was the entire mind your business and help me. I felt pretty pestered.
Well, I think that no, you have to. It's for the bit. It's for content. It's for content. David, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here.
No.
Come here.
No.
Please.
No.
You're a bitch. I hope you know that. Come here. You don't even have to get out of the chair. Just swivel your chair over here.
Through this mess, absolutely the fuck not.
Okay, David. David. David.
Yep.
David.
Yep.
If you don't come here right now, I'm gonna hit you with this off-brand Coke bottle.
Listen, it's your redeem. I don't need to make this easy for you.
What? Okay, you know what? David?
Yeah?
I'm afraid. God damn it, I have back problems again. David?
Scoliosis looking ass.
You can't say that!
No offense to anyone who actually has scoliosis.
Oh, but fuck me, who has scoliosis? I don't have scoliosis.
I know you don't.
Alright, you know what we're gonna do?
Your VTuber looks like you do, though.
Oh, wait, I forgot! I can walk away from the monitor and you guys can still see me. Aha! I forgot. Aha! Aha! Okay, alright. David?
What?
David.
What?
Oh, now I have to think of another step. Chad, can you still hear me? Stop punching me.
I'm
Okay.
just poking you.
Here's what we're gonna do. Okay. David,
Yeah.
I feel like I wanted to come up with something clever, but I can't, so I might just beat the shit out of you.
Well, Well, don't do that. That's just mean.
What if I do it with like a stuffed animal, so it softens the blow?
I don't know. It's still kind of mean.
What if I duct tape your balls together?
That's against TOS.
Is this filled with water?
Don't touch anything on that. It's covered with resin. Also, that's rubbing alcohol.
Okay, you know what? I'm glad you said that because I was gonna spray rubbing alcohol into your eyes.
Thank God!
I thought it was water!
No! Why would I just have... Okay, you know what? Actually, a normal person would have a spray bottle.
Yeah, so like, I'm glad you said that. Okay. Listen.
Chat, she almost sprayed me with rubbing alcohol.
I didn't know! Okay. David, you know what you're gonna have to do?
What?
You know what you have to do? Alright, I need you. Come here.
No!
Come here. Ah! Why are you? Okay, come here. We're gonna. Here, I'm sitting. We're gonna. Come on. Come on. You can do this, buddy. Come on, you can do this. All right, you're gonna get up on the count of 3. Okay?
No.
Yes.
No, I am not.
Okay, 1, 2. I will break your arm if you don't let me use you for content.
You need to hit your arms better at the gym, apparently.
Well, that was just mean.
You're not ripped enough.
That's just mean.
No, it's the truth.
You know what? Fuck this. I'm going home. It's your stream now, David. Goodbye.
Oh, hell yeah.
Goodbye, chat. Goodbye. Well, are you gonna entertain them?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't trust you.
Why?
I'm gonna get over there and then something's gonna happen.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're back. I think it's your stream again.
Oh, okay, bye.
There's-
Am I in the frame?
Yeah.
What about now?
A little more. There you go. Let it be known that she's like by our front door now. The range of this thing is actually fucking impressive. Oh, she's coming back. Oh my god, you're gonna break my fucking chair.
Okay, I did it. I slam dunked my butt into his balls. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
Oh my god. You
What?
broke my fucking my chair. You were about to have to buy a second chair.
It said network error occurred. Did you like that?
Hey,
Oh, that's my underwear. Oh. Hey, stop looking at that. Stop. But yes, now that is that is what that redeem does. let's
yeah, Dean memes that she nearly accidentally maims me.
What do you mean this is terrifying? I think it's a great angle. I think you're just mean. Listen, okay, I said I would commit. Okay, is there actually... Hold on. Can I, like, fix the angle? I look so, like... Oh, not like that. Because I was going to say, I'm like, I look so... Oh, okay, I don't look very poised and refined with my underwear showing. I don't know what's better. Showing my underwear or, like, just having my pussy be a blank void. Just guys being dudes. So, I think, there's still some testing to be done with the full body tracking. But I enjoyed that. I hope you enjoy that. So David Tsundere merchandise win. Hopefully soon. Okay. Let me see if I can swap it back. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed. Let me, where's the button? Open scene. Sitting. Okay, go back to just sitting. Did you have fun? Did you enjoy my domestic abuse? I'm sure David enjoyed seeing your underwear. Probably not. He's probably sick of it at this point. Okay, let me turn the regular tracking back on. That was an experience. Let me get rid of the little trackers then. Okay. But, yeah, so we're still working on polishing the 3D tracking. It wasn't as smooth as it usually is, because you're supposed to calibrate them, like I said, away from any magnetic devices. And, this is a computer and a camera and a cell phone.
I feel like your mic
So-
arm is also made out of something magnetic.
And my mic arm and my microphone. So, the the tracking wasn't as best as it could be. The thing I need to figure out, right, is how do I still get like good face tracking when I'm doing full body stuff. That's the hard thing, is because as you can tell, I'm able to totally just like run away from my camera. And I don't the software that I use to track my my fucking face and the way I get like the really good face tracking, like the tongue out and stuff like that, is with my iPhone, right? And Mokopi, the software that I use for the full body tracking, is also on my iPhone. So I need to like figure some shit out yet, and that's part of why I'm not gonna do a full 3D concert quite yet, because it's just like, we are gonna do a full 3D concert at some point. It's just not gonna be part of my debut, is the plan right now. Just because I want to debut, but there's still like other equipment I want that costs money, and I don't have a lot of money right now. Just like after like taxes and shit. So I'd rather, instead of like still waiting to do my big lore, it's not even really a debut. You guys have seen the model like a zillion and one times at this point. But it's meant to be like a lore moment, because my VTuber lore is really important to me. It's meant to be kind of like a turntables of my content, but you know, but we're calling it a debut because that's just what they call it these days. Oh my god, I'm sniffly. Yeah, you can do it with your phone. Yeah, so if you have an iPhone, right now industry standard for VTuber face tracking is iPhones, particularly an iPhone with oh god, I'm cucumbered still. God damn it. Does anyone else want to hold some armor? Lucian, bro, you want to hold some armor?
Is that a
Pretty much
Varla
what
stone
it
you have
is
there?
is
May I
oh
see?
yeah, it is.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been ages since I last had
What?
a look at one of these.
Why you want that?
Beautiful, aren't they? Actual fragments of Aetherius in our very hands. This one's a touch flawed, of course, but it's still stunning. The
Oh, are you
aliens
good? There's
really
like
were
toxic gas
masters of their
behind
craft.
you.
Thank you for
Oh
letting
fuck,
me
I
look.
never turned the
really
hand
do
tracking back on.
appreciate it.
Do we still? That's okay. Yeah.
Can I see it? Please, can I see the Elder Scroll?
You want to see the Elder
I
Scroll?
wanted to hold one all my life, and it's right there.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh, obviously I'm aware of the risks. Blindness, madness, and all that. But surely just the peek won't hurt?
I don't think it's, well, I mean, he knows what he's talking about. He's pretty well educated. Be careful.
Oh, of course, of course. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna end well.
Finally.
I don't think this is gonna end well.
This doesn't make sense. I thought... Never mind. Here, have it back.
What'd you see?
Nothing. Just lines and patterns. Maybe a constellation.
He's
or
blind
two.
now. Oh my god.
It's so frustrating. I was hoping for...
For what?
Oh, forget it. I'll tell you someday.
It's not any
Thanks
nudes.
for letting me look anyhow. Suppose we'd better get back to it.
He opens the Elder Scroll. It's just that video of Drake. Okay.
What's
so
next?
apparently we never grabbed Torment. Apparently.
Something in your
So let's
mind?
go back and do that because I guess I just got distracted by the pestering. I hope you enjoyed the pestering. Let me see. Yeah, let me trade
Take
some
whatever
stuff
you
with you.
need.
So you can take the rest of the armor. Wait, what'd you guys see? What'd I do? Huh? What? What happened? What? He's doing something interesting, but the other girl just says, fuck you, a big girl. Oh, the Drake video. Yeah. The fucking snake. I did see the Drake video, yes. I don't know, man. I was like,
Let's get back to
oh
it.
god, he looks so silly with the little helmet. Okay, let's find Torment, because I guess we forgot to pick that up. Yeah, it was like, I don't know. I don't want to be like the end all be all of like penis enjoyers, but like, that's really a sentence for me. But like, I feel like it's like, I don't know. It felt like it was kind of like that looked scary. Not gonna lie. It looked intimidating, you know? Yeah. Did I not have Torment? I could have sworn I grabbed Torment. Yeah, I have it. What's it on about? I don't know. Okay. Whatever. It's just a fucking liar, I guess. I don't know what's going on with it. This is Eastern conversation if I've ever heard one. I mean, listen. Like, I'm just saying. Okay, that's my opinion. Okay. Like I said, I'm not the end all be all of penis havers or penis enjoyers, you know. But I'm just saying, when it's that big, like, that's just gotta hurt. Like, that's gotta be painful. You could rupture something, you know. Like, I don't think that'd be very pleasant. And like I said, it's just my opinion, you know, but like, I don't know. Personally, I think, oh wait, Vigilant. Wait, what? What's going on? Where did you guys get here? Hey, you guys going after the oh, it's the Vigilance of Stendarr. Hey guys. Look at these Daedra worshippers. Isn't that crazy? Daedra worshippers? Damn. I would never. Oh, fuck. Wait, why are they going after me now? Wait, what the fuck? Huh? Hi, little spirit. Welcome in, gamer. Are we slutting it hard enough? God, I hope so. I think so. I'd be kind of shocked if we weren't after the conversation we had so far. But, you know. Yeah, get out of here.
You're so
Get out.
pathetic.
Stop healing yourself.
You think you can win?
Can't do that.
I'm sorry.
Not around here. Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah. Alright, we need to get rid of some stuff. I feel like your hat isn't slutty enough. Listen, I had a bigger hat, but people complained that my hat was too big. And so we had to downsize it, okay? The people were not ready for a hat that big. How many times has EB said dick and boobs on this stream? If you take a shot for every time I say dick and balls and boobs on this stream, you will die. Fun fact. Let me see if there's anything I can get rid of. I don't want to keep getting rid of bones, because it's like, I like all my bones. Okay, do we need all these staffs? I don't think we need this one. We can drop this one. We don't need that. All right, let's get out of here. I don't know why it's saying I don't have Torment. I literally do. It's in my inventory. Bones, are you kidding? Listen, if we go outside at the same time, I think we should be able to acquire some boners. I think we should be okay. Challenge, what are we at right now? I mean, if anyone's been keeping track, feel free to let me know, but I have no goddamn idea. I haven't got a fucking clue. Okay. Let's see what's going on here, though. Let's see. Anything else good over here? I'll take the gold. I'll always take some gold. Just peep the entire party is just eccentric people. I mean, yeah. But hey, you got a little preview of the full body tracking. She's still at challenge 1. Life. God, what a yeah, that's real as fuck actually. I'm just trying to make it through, dude. Alright, who are you, by the way? Are you supposed to try to kill me?
That spell looks dangerous. Keep your distance.
Okay. I don't know what they're on about, but all right. Yeah, I don't know why it thinks I don't have it, which is weird. When did you change models? So I am we haven't done the official debut for this model yet. I'm still kind of testing a lot of things. We got to, thanks to Game Sniper for teaming Pester Dave, we got to mess with the full body tracking. But once I'm done testing stuff and getting everything together and finishing my lore video, I'll be doing a special 3D model debut. And we'll be using this model for full body tracking activities like VR Skyrim. Hopefully, once I get things even more, kind of put together a 3D concert at some point, and other just full body shenanigans. You get to see me run around and scream, you know, in all angles. Okay, what am I carrying now? All right, well, let's see. Hold on. We should be able to get some boners going. So let's see. But yeah, we're not going to have a 3D concert at the debut, unfortunately, just because it's too much to do right now. But we will have one eventually, you know. Right now, my biggest priority is to do Skyrim stuff with the three body models. I don't know what I did there. And do just like all kinds of other cool stuff. The times are among us. Fuck yeah. Alright, boner time! Yep. But yes, things are coming. I hope they will come soon. I've tried not to put a date on it anymore. Just because I don't want to every time I try to put a deadline, something fucking happens. And then I get stressed out. But yes, you are going to get to see me dropkick a bandit. And one of the mods in the Immersive and Epic server of Immersive Collections is actually working on a Skyrim VR mod pack. So that's something that I'm hoping I'll get to play as well too. So we're gonna play probably some vanilla Skyrim in VR. Bro, can you okay. We're also gonna hopefully do some modded stuff as well. I've decided it's kind of, oh, I don't need to see all that. Get that out of here. Get that out of my face. Oh my God. Leave that alone. Okay. Are there any other? Okay. I guess. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I have any more skulls? He's boning. Let him cook. I'm sorry. My mistake. If I have any more skulls, I can summon more. I should be able to summon more then. Here. Let's get another one going. But I'm hoping that the big debut where I go really all out and I have more time to plan it is gonna be the Skyrim model debut. So that one will probably have a little bit more polish to it, I guess. So this is kind of more of a for fun thing. I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. But I'm hoping we can do. And my lore is really important to me, so I wanted to do a special event all for it. And I've wanted a 3D mod for a while, so that's kind of what we're doing. All right. Stagger Mage could be cool. Yeah, we should be able to get 3 more boners. But that's probably gonna lift our carry weight fucking significantly. So let's see. Maximum number of skeletons reach. Yeah, we're at 570 now, and we were at like 600 before. So we have, God, look at him. Hi, boners. Mommy loves you. Okay, let's go do something else. Okay, what's next on the agenda as we slowly work our way back up? Let's go Velothi Mountain Tunnels. I think we wanted to do this, but then we were too baby for it, if I recall correctly. So let's just save some time and do that. But let's take a look. Hi, Saku! Welcome in, gamer. But yeah, lots of things coming soon. I just need to... Here's the thing, is freelancing full-time has made things a lot easier for me in a lot of different respects, but also there's certain parts of it that I never thought I would have to deal with. Accounting, hard. Taxes, hard. QuickBooks, fuck QuickBooks. All my homies hate QuickBooks, but it's what I've been advised to use for things, so I don't understand it. I have people to help me understand it, but fuck. It's still very hard, but I'm doing my best. But, you know, I'm excited. I think it'll be really fun. I've kind of accepted that, like, with the nature of my life, honestly, I'm never probably going to get to the point where I can, like, devote as much time to content creation as I like to. Oh, shit. Oh, you guys are fine. You guys are fine. I'll never probably get to devote as much time to content creation as I'd like to, but I'm going to keep trying my best. You know, and that's my thing is like, I feel like a lot of times I have a lot of friends and colleagues who are like full-time content creators or like about to be full-time content creators. It's what they're working towards. And I a lot of times compare my progress to theirs or my speed to theirs. And really that's not fair just because they have more time, you know, time that I don't really have, you know. So I'm going to keep trying my best, but it might take some time. And that's okay, you know? That's okay. I can only work at my own pace, you know? Alright, here we go. Now, that one guy did have a book that I needed. Let me see. Varieties of Daedra. Yes, give that to me. Minor Healing Potion. Daedra Heart. Oh, hell yeah, more books. Okay, awesome. Pray to the executive functioning gods. That's the plan, honestly. It's hard. Like, that's all I'm gonna say, is I think and I've talked about before, I'm pretty much like, I'm a lot better now than I was before, but I still am dealing with like the after effects, I guess like the aftershocks of burnout and stuff like that. So it's getting better, but it's definitely a day-by-day thing, you know? I'll be honest though, I want to get better at posting like daily on like TikTok and stuff like that, and like, I don't want to get political, but I'll be real. My motivation to put myself out there more and do more short-form content has been kind of shot in the foot with the TikTok ban going around and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to, like, dedicate time to it until we know what's going on with that. And, like, my dad was like, oh, why don't you post to, like, YouTube? Why don't you post to, like, Instagram Reels or stuff like that? And I'm like, Dad, they will eat me up there. They will eat me the fuck up there. I am not built for that. And, like, that's kind of, like, the decision I made. Is, like, I know that I personally, don't have, I'm very sensitive, right? So I just don't have the, I guess like I don't have it in me. You know what I mean? I'd rather stay small and be happy than grow my
It'll
platform
be easier for the schemers
and
to
have people be mean to me. You know? And that's why I'm okay, like, kind of staying where I'm at. You know what I mean? Like, if I grow, cool. If not, cool. Because, like, I don't, like, if I, like, magically, like, get raided by someone huge and blow up and act like I don't know nobody, you know, I'm sorry, I'm quoting a Vine. That's one thing, but, like, I don't know. I am sensitive. I am very sensitive. I don't have the chutzpah to deal with that. And, like, I know I could probably just not read the comments, but, like, I'm nosy, you know? Like, I had someone write this, like, 2-paragraph, like, comment one time about how they disagreed with my opinions on Fallout and how I deserved to be killed and raped because I disagreed with their opinions about Fallout, which was like, I don't know, it was really descriptive and it kind of fucked me up. So I was like, okay, alrighty. Sorry, my face tracking stopped working for a second. Yeah, and that's when it kind of hit me. I'm like, maybe I'm not built for that, you know, and that's okay, you know. Fallout the game, yeah. Sorry, I don't know why my, like, internet just, like, ate shit with that. Okay, there we go. But that's the thing, is it's like, you gotta protect your peace for, in that order. I don't remember, but it was, like, very, like, I don't know, dude, it just seemed, like, incredibly unhinged, and, like, I get that it's, like, but that's the thing, right, is everyone will tell you, like, oh, you gotta get used to that. I don't know if I wanna, you know, and with that decision, it's, like, that's just kind of how I decided that, you know, I don't think I could be a full-time content creator. I still think I'm successful as a VTuber, you know, not a content creator, but as a VTuber. I've still found my niche and been able to make a full-time job out of working with VTubers, you know, but this kind of comments some of my students get, the kind of things people say about them, I don't think I can handle it, like, genuinely, you know, so I'm content just being where I'm at, being a little 2 views, you know, because that's the thing, is at the end of the day, you know, I feel like if you want to be a full-time content creator, just again, you know, hearing what I've heard from so many people I've worked with, you know, you have to really want it, and you have to be able to not give a fuck about certain things. I'm not at the point yet in my own, and I've grown a lot, my confidence has improved a lot. I'm not at the point where I cannot give a fuck yet, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still really sensitive about certain things, you know? Even, like, and I've always been kind of hypersensitive, low-key. That was, like, one of the ways we knew I had the tism, is, like, even if someone was, like, this could sound really stupid, but, like, even when someone, like, would get bullied in, like, a movie, like, it didn't even have to be real life. Even if someone got bullied in a movie, it would make me really sad. Like, I remember being a little kid, and we went to go see Disney on Ice, right? And one of the scenes in Disney on Ice was the stepsisters tearing apart Cinderella's dress, right? And they were like, it was meant to be cool. They were like, they were all on fucking ice skates, but because they were just being so mean to her, I started, like, crying. And my dad was like, why is this freaking you out? You've seen the movie before. Why are you freaking out? And I was like, I don't know. Like, it just made me feel so shitty, you know, seeing someone else be treated like that, you know? And, like, even when I see people say shit about VTubers in general, you know, and I know a lot of it is because people's, you know, perspective of VTubers is probably very, like, down to, like, 3 popular VTubers, right? But even, like, when people say things like, oh, VTubers are all fat and ugly, you know, and they just want money from people and they're all manipulative bitches or, like, something like that, you know, even that sometimes gets to me, to the point where sometimes I'm like, why am I doing this? Everyone's gonna make fun of me. You know, and like at the end of the day, I've decided I do it because I like it. I genuinely enjoy streaming, and even on days that are hard, I try to push myself to still stream if I can because it makes me feel better, right? Every time I've had a bad day, but I push myself to stream, I always come out of it feeling better, you know? But that's the thing, is even like stuff like that, you know, sometimes has me like, well, maybe I should start facecam streaming again, but then maybe people will be mean to me about my IRL appearance, and it's like, I'd rather people be mean to a model, even though the model is, oh, it's this thing. Oh, this one's fun. We'll do this one. even though the model's based off me, it's still kind of like a shield in a way. Like, you can make fun of the model, but I don't want people to make fun of me, you know? And I don't mind showing my face. It's not like a matter of, you know, I don't want to show my face ever, you know? I do show my face to you guys sometimes, you know? But I feel like with VTubing, a lot of it is, you know, I can keep control in a way, if that makes sense. I'm the type of person who very often, like, a lot of times I don't like when other people take pictures of me. Like, I've been better about taking pictures about myself, but a lot of times I still get very uncomfortable when people take pictures of me, you know? Hi, Wazen. Tits looking big and nice as usual. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. But that's the thing, you know, as VTubing gives me... This is a serious... No, it's okay. Sometimes we need to take a break and talk about big tits. I think that's important. It's a mental health thing. But yeah, and like, I fully plan on cosplaying as myself when I go to Offkai Expo. And that's the thing, is like, with my job, I kind of have to show my face. Like, people saw my, like, 3,000 people saw my face at Offkai Expo when I was conducting up there, you know? So it's not like I'm purposely trying to hide anything. I've accepted people are going to see my face, and I'm okay with that. I don't know. It's just like, I think people are just mean for no reason, you know? Everyone asks, how big are your tits? But I'm asking, how are your big tits? I mean, they're okay. You know, they're hanging in there. Like we all are, you know? But yeah, so like, that's my thing, is that's the big thing that everyone's saying nowadays, is like, if you want to grow as a streamer, you need to post to other platforms and say, okay, and I get that you have to grow a thick skin. I don't got the energy to grow a thick skin. I've been through enough, you know? I'm just gonna, you know, and that doesn't mean I'm never gonna post on TikTok ever again, or, I probably won't ever post on Instagram or YouTube again. I'm just gonna be real with that. Like, I'll still post my VODs on YouTube. I'm probably not gonna go back to YouTube Shorts, you know? But I do like making little videos and stuff. I think it's fun when I have the energy for it. But the other thing with those platforms, aside from people being rude, is just a lot of those platforms, the way the algorithm works is if you're not posting once per day, it punishes you for that. You know what I mean? And like, regardless of how people treat you, a lot of posting once per day is hard. It doesn't sound like it, you know? But a lot of times, sometimes it can take me 30 minutes to an hour to make one TikTok, you know? And that's not including always the time it takes to find the content for it, to like go through my VOD. And that's why a lot of streamers say like, hey, clipping really helps me a lot, because just like clipping something you think is funny saves us literal hours from trying to comb through our own streams to find funny stuff. And it also makes us feel better, because then it's like, okay, if you think it's funny, then maybe other people will think it's funny. You know what I mean? So it does really help us out a lot, you know? But that's the thing, is it's just like, posting once per day is not sustainable for a lot of people, unless you're doing this full-time as a job, you know? And I don't know, I don't think I'll have I like being a hobbyist, you know? That's what I'll say. If I ever grow, you know, cool, that's fun. But I'm content with just kind of staying in my lane, you know? I'm content with just doing my own thing, being happy. If people find me, cool, you know? If people don't like me, that's fine. But I just don't like people that are unnecessarily cruel, you know? It's one thing to call me cringe, but like, death threats are another, if that makes sense. Gave up on TikTok. Are you supposed to stay there on my cosplay account, and it just never went anywhere? That's the thing, is like, another thing I read is when you have a viral moment, you have to keep the momentum going. And I've had viral moments many times, you know, but I just couldn't keep the momentum going, you know? And maybe if I wasn't, you know, a lot of times my viral moments were when I was working full-time at school, you know, or even working part-time at school. I still had, you know, 2 jobs, you know. I just, you know, I can't keep up with it, right? And I've had experiences where videos go viral for a good reason. I've had experiences where videos go viral for a not good reason. You know what I mean? And that's the big thing, is I think my most viewed video has like 700,000 views, but it was not on the right side of TikTok. I got a lot of shit. I got a lot of threats. I got a lot of rape comments and stuff like that. And, you know, a lot of people will tell you, they'll say like, oh, well, keep the comments on. You know, hate comments, they're good for engagement. And it's like, okay, maybe it's good for engagement. It's not good for my mental, you know? So it's like one of those things where it's like, is it worth it? You know what I mean? And I've kind of made the decision, nah, you know, I like my community. I like the immersive community, which is I know where a lot of you guys found me from. I'm content just being in my own little corner, you know. So with whatever happens, happens. And I like teaching VTubers. I will always teach VTubers as long as I can because I love it, you know. And I have a lot of students tell me like, oh, I can't believe you're not like Twitch partner or anything like that. And honestly, I just don't have the energy to put the work in. You know, maybe it'd be different if I did. But I don't. You know, I just don't, you know. The shit that femme presenting people have to deal with on the internet is fucking abysmal. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I found you through TikTok. Thank you, gamer. And that's the thing, is like, maybe my opinion will change. I hope that I've come a long way with my self-confidence. When I first started VTubing originally, I was a character that was very different than my real self and my real, oh right, it's this one. Hey girl. Hey Bessie. What's up? I remember this one. This one's spooky. This is a fun quest line. But that's like the big thing is, I don't know. My opinions could change, you know? And now I've definitely grown to love myself a lot more. And honestly, like, I don't want to sound like vain, but that's something I'm really proud of. I worked really hard to, like, learn to love myself. Even having a model whose thighs touch, you know, was a big deal for me. That's part of why I wanted the 3D model is my body type used to be something I was really insecure of. And, like, it sounds silly, but seeing people, like, freak out over my model's thighs makes, like, she's modeled off my body, so it makes me feel good about myself, you know? So I've definitely grown a lot, and I might grow more. I might finally get to that point where, you know, I don't give a fuck about what other people think, and I do my thing, I do what makes me happy. I do hope I get to that point, but for now, I'm not quite there yet, and that's okay. It takes time, you know? Everything takes time. But I think just being willing to show my face on the internet and be myself on the internet is a big step for me, because I wasn't always like that. So, you know, baby steps, you know? I forgot I almost made art of Fairy Eevee. Fairy Eevee, if you're real Eevee fans, remember Fairy Eevee, Vampire Eevee, oh damn. Crazy times we live in. But, I don't know, I thought about bringing them back for certain things, but it's one of those things where it's like, I think it's best they stay in the past, you know? Even though they were cool designs and cool characters, I'm in a new era of my life, you know? So I think what I have going now with my book, with my novel, with my OCs, and the lore for Eevee now is kind of where I want to be, you know? What's happened has happened. Doesn't mean it wasn't cool, you know? But it's time to move on, you know? That's how I view it. The word Eevee. Social media in general has become more and more negative and violent. I hope that soon enough it'll become more positive. I hope so too. It won't, yeah. Only time will tell. But that's the thing is I feel like the world in general is a lot more negative and cruel than it used to be, you know? Even like just going to get food, you know, going to the movie theater, you know? People don't have as much patience, I feel like. People are more rude to like service workers and stuff like that. I feel like that just in general, people are way more unkind than they used to be. And it's just kind of sad, you know? A lot more war crimes are passing under the radar. Yeah, the pandemic really blew the lid off some people. I think it did, honestly. I think a lot of people... Ooh, spooky time, spooky time. I think a lot of people just... Like, it sounds silly. I really do think a lot of people need to touch grass and go outside. And I know that's... Oh, hey. I know that's hypocritical coming from me, because I'm a fucking anime girl on the internet. But I feel like, you know, I don't know. I feel like sometimes we get so entrenched on what's happening online, we forget about the real world around us, you know? So when the days get nicer, you know, I know that my viewer count is going to go down because it's going to be, hey guys, it's going to be nicer and people are going to be going outside. I think that's a good thing, right? Don't feel bad about missing my stream. If you miss my stream because you're going out and having a barbecue or going on a walk or going to the beach, please don't feel bad. I want you to do what is best for you, and I want you to enjoy life to the fullest. You know, enjoy sunsets, enjoy sunrises, enjoy the sound of the ocean, enjoy the smell of fresh cut grass, you know? Do what makes you happy, you know? And I'll always be here, you know? I'm not going anywhere. So, you know. Kick is a shit show of its own. I should not. That is another convo. I had a few people ask me if I was ever going to stream on Kick, just because I think it has more lax regulations, but I don't think it's for me. That's all I'm going to say. So I switched to VTuber. I was getting too dysphoric looking at myself at the camera. That's the thing. Is like, ah! Hey girl, how are you? Thank you for the Prime sub, gamer. I hope you're doing well. It's so good to hear from you. This is a unexpectedly deep conversation after accidentally showing my VTuber model's underwear and beating the shit out of David with full body tracking. How many mods are you running right now? Like 850? I think something like that. Something like that. But those are rookie numbers. We're still working on getting it up. We're still working on getting it up. We can always add more. We can always add more, you know? What even is Kick? Kick is like a Twitch, it's a Twitch alternative. It's another streaming site, but there's been a lot of controversies with it. You know what I mean? We can always add more dicks. Damn fucking right. Yeah, there's a lot of fucked up shit on Kick. Like what Bumble's saying is not exaggerating. We are not in Skyrim anymore. I mean, no, but we are, oh shit, hey. Okay, I can't use my hemomancy spells because they're skeletons and okay, guys. Go, my children! Fuck him up! Go, my children! Come on! Come on, you can do it! Get in there! Get in there! God, none of my fucking magic works. Are you mine? Are you one of my girlfriends? Okay, you're my girlfriend. Okay, cool. Just needed to check. Needed to check. No, we're still in Skyrim. We haven't gone to Morrowind yet. We're getting there. We still need to go to, Bruma, too. I think we have Beyond Bruma installed as well. I haven't experimented with a lot of it, but since this is our... Bro, what are you? What is she yapping about? Chill the fuck out. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna do any damage. Oh wait, that's my baby. Okay, which one is mine? Which one's... Oh, hey! Okay. That makes more sense. Okay, yeah, you guys... Oh, wait. Aha! Okay, Rock. So basically, if you haven't seen Legacy of the Dragonborn before, if it has a little plus by it, it means I can add it to my funky little museum. So we're looking out for things with the blue plus on it. All right, are you guys good? Are you guys good? First of the Lofty Mountains are the border with Morrowind. Are they? I don't know. I've never actually played Morrowind. Like I said, I feel like really shitty when people ask me about Elder Scrolls stuff because they'll be like, oh my gosh, Evie, what do you like about Oblivion? What do you like about Morrowind? I don't know. I have not played those games. I have played Skyrim. I like Skyrim. That's all I got, boss. That's all I got. How many displays are you at in the museum? I think we're getting close to 450. So we can we're still getting there. We still don't have as much as I would like, you know. But we're getting there, you know. We're getting there. So let's see. The Velocity Mountains are the border with Morrowind. Okay, we've been here before. I don't know. We can't even abandon this quest at this point because we're trapped there. Did you see the Nuke Skyrim Ultima mod gameplay? I have not, actually. I haven't heard about that Skyrim Ultima in a hot minute. Who are you? Kill this man. Get his ass. Okay, I should probably help. I don't think I have... Yeah, he doesn't have... Well, I do some damage to him. I don't have flames, I just have ice and blood magic. And he doesn't have blood, so, you know. But yeah, I haven't heard Skyrim Ultima in a hot minute. Let me see. Yeah, I've been... Oh, wait, no, maybe I haven't been here before. I don't fucking know. Boner imposter? Yeah, who's this guy? Get a load of that guy. Oh, give me your skull. We need that. That's a surprise tool that will help us later. So, let's see. Yeah, I want to get out of here, but I also want to do this quest. I do like this quest, even if it is a little... Oh, god damn it. I think we went in a circle. One day I'll stop being directionally challenged. Oh wait, no, maybe we're good. Have you done the Dark Brotherhood contracts yet? Not yet. Our big major quests that we're working on now is holy shit. Hello? Hello? My friends, are you gonna help me? Okay, thank you. Right now the main quest we're doing are main quest and College of Winterhold. We're probably gonna save Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild for the end, just so that way. Because I think they're some of the best ones, honestly. Yeah, isn't there that secret room in the museum to put more of the unsavory stuff, as Arian says? I'm telling you, if they make it so I can fuck that elf twink, it's so fucking over. Like, I'm sorry. Arian is so charming. I love Legacy of the Dragonborn. That's my one complaint about it. Let me kiss him on the mouth. Let me kiss him on the mouth. It's so fucked up that I can't. Hey. What's going on over here? Me first? I think everyone can have a turn. You and Elf Twigs. Shh. 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 Okay, listen. I have two types of men. It's big, beardy, hairy men, and men that look like I could snap them over my leg like a goddamn twig. Okay, that is the two types I have in men. My types in women are all of them. But with men, you get two types. So David and Astarion, you didn't have to say it like that, but yeah. Shut up, David. I will pester you again, bro. I'm in the Discord for LOTD. I'll add a suggestion to the channel. Yes, please. Listen. Just please don't cite me. If the Legacy of the Dragonborn mod author noticed me, I think I would shit my pants. I think I would actually scream. I still remember when Burke noticed me for the first time. I was like, holy shit. Because I just uploaded my VOD mindlessly, and then he commented, and I was like, hey, we really love your content. We'd love to talk to you. We're so glad you're using the collection. I was like, ah! And now I'm like, I talk to him. I'm like, hey, bro. What's up, dude? But I'm very grateful for, oh, hey. Just having a swim. Yeah, let's, oh, that's a fire woman. That's not what I wanted. She's just, wee! Wee! Hear me out, but the ghost? I mean, you're gonna have to get through all that ice first, but if you're determined, I believe in it. You don't recognize the faces in the water. But yeah, anytime someone, like, tells me they like my content, or they're like, oh, I found you from here, I'm like, sometimes I forget that there's, like, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Sometimes I forget that there's people out there. You know? Like, sometimes I forget you all are real. Like, I'm like, did I just not take my meds? And then I look at my, like, stream stats, I'm like, oh, people. Oh, boy, howdy. Oh, shit, there's so many of you. Okay, you guys, here. Help me. Help me. Boners. Thank you. But yeah, I don't know. That's someone where, like, if the Legacy of the Dragonborn mod author ever noticed me and was like, hey, I like your content, I think I would pass away. I think I would literally die. I would not survive. Can you guys do the work? I don't have any magic that'll work. But I don't know. Like, it doesn't, and, like, I know I'm saying that, oh shit, my tits aren't working. Hold on. I never verified my Twitch stuff with my tits. Hold up. Let me do this because I don't want to accidentally show my IP. The entire Baldur's 3 playthrough is just Evie trying to romance Astarion. I mean, it sure was. I don't know. I like Baldur's Gate 3, but I had a hard time, like, streaming it, if that makes sense. Oh, no, Twitch is connected. Why isn't it working? What the fuck? Shoot me! Shoot me! There you go. I don't know why it wasn't working. I'm getting to, like, 4 viewers for taking a couple people chatting and stuff. Yeah! Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't want people to ever feel, like, pressured to chat, but anytime I, like, come to stream and you guys, like, before I start in the little thing are like, hi, Evie, I'm like, it makes me really happy. And it's like, I genuinely, like, I know it sounds like cliche, I genuinely am just happy you guys are here. I never in a million years thought, I have always thought that my sense of humor was just, like, too much, or my voice was annoying, so seeing that you guys like me is like, you know? I think my students was like, 12 years, yeah, that's my thing, is I'm like, hello? Hello? Where are you people coming from? I would bear the flames to be with Karlach. Honestly, based. Okay, let's just do this because I don't want to be a baby. Okay, come on. Get out of here. God, I do no damage. Look at I did nothing. Absolutely. Help me. No, my boners. Oh, wait, that was my boner. I just fucking shot my son. God damn it. Fuck. But yeah, that's the thing, is it's like, whenever I get down on myself on, like, my viewership or anything like that, I always remind myself that it's like, listen, this is still far from where you've come from, you know? Like I said, you know, whatever happens, stop shooting me! I'm trying to be motivational! Alright, I'm not dealing with this. I fucking missed! I'm killing myself in Minecraft. Oh my god! Why are my I have 8 fucking followers! Do your goddamn job! What do I pay you for? I actually don't pay them at all. I don't pay them. Why are you just standing there? Do you see that?
You won't get the
Girl, get up! What are you people doing? Girl, get up! Oh my god, thank you! Jesus! My love for Minthara has led me to places. You know what? That's based. I know that Minthara is not great, but like, smash, you know? She doesn't need to be a good person for me to fuck. Like, that's all I'm saying. I'm down to set aside my morals for good pussy. I think anyone else would do the same, you know? They were on break. No! No breaks! Get back to work! Lydia, what the fuck are you doing? They are getting the best of you! You're not doing anything! Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Let's get it together, people. We need to get out of here. We have things to do. We have things to do. Okay. We might need to hold on. So many companions, they formed a union. No. I have to double check because I did say we were raiding into Julian for Clash after this, and I'm so fucking worried I'm gonna miss it. And they're gonna be like, Evie, we can't play Clash now, and I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry. Okay, you know what we're doing? You're fired. Give me a new one. Get me a new one. The last person I fucked was an arsonist who put 40 bullets into her boyfriend's car. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, come on. I'm leaving. Oh, that looks cool as shit. It doesn't have a display, so I'm not taking it. Here, sometimes you just gotta walk away. Sometimes you just gotta walk away. That's all you can do. You just gotta walk away. Are you guys? Oh, there they are. I don't know which one's mine and which one. Okay, this guy's the enemy. Okay, get his ass. Oh, wait, where'd he go? Oh! We're fine. Are you okay? You good? Okay, you're good. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I always miss the don't put your dick in crazy. Listen. I don't know. I've fucked some crazy people. I'm gonna leave it at that. Like, well, y'all know we've told the 9/11 threesome story on here enough times. Y'all know it was a group effort. Okay, where the fuck? How do I get back in here? How do I get back in here? Okay, cool. Let's see. Yeah, there was that one guy from my high school that fucked a cat. There was that too. I think that's about it. There's been some wild people. But you know what? That's the thing. Oh god, he's getting my ass. He's getting my ass. When my ex-partner's threatening to burn my house down if I go to them, call the police. I think I skipped a couple chapters in the EPR. So here's the moral of the story is don't fuck with people from the state of Delaware. Because I'll give the abridged version while my followers hopefully do their job. David and I hooked up with this guy for like 9 months. But at one point, after everything was said and done, he was like a little bit older than us. He was like 5 years older than us. And out of nowhere, like when I say like right after, I mean like right after. Like no one had their clothes on or anything. We were like laying there. And like I feel like there's a lot of things you could say to break the silence after a threesome. But Mans literally looked at us and was like, hey, do you guys remember where you were on 9/11? And I was like, no. What the fuck? Like, what do you say to that? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I was like 1 years old, and he started like trauma dumping. He was like, yeah, I remember like it was super scary, and like the teacher they like wheeled in the TV, and we all watched the second plane hit, and the people like jumping off like while we were in school, and my mom came to pick me up, and I was like, what the fuck is bro on about? Like, I say that again. Like, out of everything you could say out in that moment, why that? Like, and that's why, like, I genuinely, like, I make a lot of, like, I don't think my humor's, like, offensive or anything like that. I don't think I use a lot of, like, edgy humor, per se. But, like, that is the one thing that I will always meme about, because I can't, like, after that experience, I, like... I don't know, you know, I just, what the fuck? Why did he, like, have a whole, like, monologue prepared about 9/11 After that, I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't take it serious anymore. Like, it's not good that people died, you know? Like, that's my hot take of the evening. But, like, I need to stop. I need to quit while I'm ahead is what we need to do. I don't know where the fuck I'm going. Let me see if Julian is ready, because my brain has stopped working. It might be time. Let me see. Is he in the... Let me message him. Is it time? Is it time? Because my brain isn't working. I don't know if it's time. Let me see. Okay. Let's see. It's just random brain fog. I didn't take my ADHD medicine today. I'll be so fucking real with you. Like, I need to do that. I usually don't take it on the weekend, you know, but like, then I remember I stream, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's do this. Maybe clearing this will help. Maybe we got a little overzealous. Maybe I put too much faith in myself for that. It's yup. Okay. Perfect. Give me that good old clairvoyance. I don't know where the fuck I'm going. Okay. Hello, my son. All right, over here. Perfect. Just tell me where to go. You have my word. Tell me where to go, and I'll go. And you know what? We'll couple that with long stride. Let me go fast. Okay. I thought this wasn't the right way, but I guess it is. So, this is where we're going. Is that lady still? Oh. She's like electric sliding over here. Okay. Good for her. Okay. Over here? Yippee. Okay. I still don't know where the fuck I'm going, but that's okay. Sheesh moving. Okay. You want me to go in the middle of a wall. What is this? What is going on here? What is that? Why does it have that aura? Okay, I guess we go over here? Is it... Okay, clairvoyance, you know what? Actually, I fucking hate you. You're useless. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. But that was not the fucking move I get. Yeah, why does it want me to go there? Hello? Oh, boy. Okay. You know what? We're just gonna go this way instead. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's cool. It's chill. Okay? Everything is chill. And we'll take that arrow, because fuck you. Shorty like a melody in my head. Okay. Yeah, we've been there before. Let's see. I wish I didn't have the directional capacity of a goldfish. I really wish I didn't. I know nobody's perfect, but oh fuck. Now how do I get up there? I can probably do something cheeky from here with whirlwind sprint to get up there. I can probably do that. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Cause there's not like a... Cause I think that's the way, right? So what if I just, do this maybe? Whirlwind sprint. There we go. Okay. And I can just, do this? No, I cannot! Let's try it again. Fuck it. Cause like I feel like I should be able to get there. I probably can if I stand on the ledge. That was what fucked me up, is I didn't run into it and I didn't stand on the ledge. That was my downfall. Okay? Alright, let's go here. 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 Do you have the other whirlwind sprint words? I don't think I do. Let me check. No. I think we can do it. If we time it just right, I believe in us, because I think that's where we need to go. Okay. Can I... Oh, give me on the... Okay. If I can, like... Every time I've tried to do this in the past, I fuck it up. But if I can sprint, shout, and jump. No! That's my fucking journal! God damn it! Is there another way, perhaps? Maybe there's another way. Lisa's giving me the, like, is that not? Oh! Oh! Okay, I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. But there is a chest here that we wouldn't have found unless we were being morons. Okay, I think I know. Here, stop. Okay, you just have to edge it a little bit and you're good. There we go. TCL up there. I'm really... We don't have time for this. We don't have time for this. You mean... I'm sorry. No, no, no. Okay. It's fine. Everything is... Oh, that's my blood. Everything is so fine. Everything is so chill right now. Everything is so chill right now. It's so chill right now. We're good. We're good. We're good. Everything is fine. Oh, hey! What's that? Oh my god. Oh, whoa, whoa, don't go close to her. Ooh. Do I need to kill? Okay, we're just gonna leave. Looks like we need to, skedaddly dude. Goodbye, ma'am. Goodbye. Oh, we're not dealing with that. No, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. Get me the fuck out of here. I just wanted to complete the quest. God, I hope there's not, like, an artifact or something here. There probably is. There almost definitely is. Is she still coming? Oh, Lord, she coming. Oh, Lord, she coming. Oh, boy. Okay, stop. Combat rolling. No, 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 no. Okay, can I close the door? Oh, gee, howdy. Okay, there's an entire display for this mod. Fuck. Okay, chat, we fucked up. Okay, do this, and then... Wait, where's my flesh, Colossus? Where's my flesh? My flesh! Okay. There we go. Okay. Alright. Now I need the high ground. Get me the high ground. Okay. Alright. Stop doing that. There we go. And then, oh, fuck. I have no... Goddamn. Okay. We're just gonna heal myself. And let them do the work. There we go. They're distracted now. Aha! You can't get me from in here! Look at him go! Fuck yeah! I love my big fleshy boys. Okay. Alright. Get them, fellas. We are not dying today. Ooh, chest. Okay, let's see. Fuck! Oh, is it time? It might be time. It's time. It's time. Is it time? We got an hour? Okay, we have time. Okay. We have time. I wasn't sure. I don't want to be the reason that my friends miss fucking ARAM League of Legends class. I don't want to be that guy. Okay. Let's see. I don't think we did ever get the sexy statue. If you mean one for in the museum, then no. Okay, I know we can do this. We just have to be careful. There might be something good in here, okay? Not there. Aha! Okay. Amulet of Kinnereth. We need that. Yep, don't mind if I do. Okay. God, where is the lady? BRB gonna bring friend home? Oh, we'll have fun! Okay. Let's see. Is this the way? It must be. Okay, wait, what? No, okay, we have that. 2400 displays, I don't remember a sexy statue. Oh. Are you talking about the Shrine of Azura we have? It might be that one you mean. Because we did go to the sexy Shrine of Azura and see the clitoris of Azura as well. It was very large for no discernible reason. Whoa! Oh, you're my friend. Hi. Mwah. Okay. Guess we just keep running. And running. Oh! Not that way, though. The what of who? Okay, so pretty much, there's a mod out there where you can make the Shrine of Azura a big sexy lady. And when I say big sexy lady, I mean big sexy lady. She was very tall, very large, and very, voluptuous, I guess is the word. is the word. Lots of big chests here. Okay. But you know what? Highly recommend. Highly recommend. It made me happy. Oh fuck yeah, another amulet. Okay, we need that. Let's see. Okay. This way, I guess. I think I have no fucking idea. We haven't been there yet, so we have to. Okay. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. I don't know if we're going the right way. I don't know. Why did I think starting this quest was a good idea? I'm a fucking idiot. Is this the right? Kind of. Okay. I think I now know the way. Yeah, okay. We should be good. We should be good. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Alright, turns out we have more time than we thought. Turns out we still have like 40 minutes, so we'll still be able to stream for 3 hours. Yippee! Oh! Hey! Okay. Okay. We'll go now. We'll leave now. Okay. More light! She goes through walls. Oh, good for her. I don't know. This quest isn't nearly as scary now that I've played it, you know? But that doesn't make it not unsettling when she, you know, does that. It's still not my favorite thing in the whole wide world, I'll tell you that much. Lots of expert chests around here. Holy shit. Let's see. I hate this quest. I mean, like, I do enjoy it in the sense that, like, yeah, I feel like we don't have a lot of horror-themed things in Skyrim. So, like, I'm a big fan, personally. Because I like, okay, here's my thing with horror games, right? Because I've tried to play horror games on stream many a time. And I like watching other people play horror games. Like my idea of a cozy weekend night in is a glass of wine, a manly badass hero video, and Stardew Valley on the iPad. Okay, that's like the best night in for me, okay? But, like, I don't like playing horror games myself a lot. I'm too much of a baby. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, when we played Shipwreck 64 with the gang, I really enjoyed it, you know, because I do want to finish it, but oh my god. I'm such a fucking baby. I need to finish it. I want to finish it. It's a good fucking game. But, oh boy. Okay, not going that way. But I'm just a baby, you know? I can't. The fucking starlings are horrifying. Oh, great. Everything is collapsing in. Oh, boy. All right, we gotta go. Wait, what? Huh? That is... Oh, boy. Wait, what? Huh? How do I... Okay. There we go. I think Twitch is randomly becoming a place of softcore porn. I mean... Listen. Does it slightly irk me that some people I know can't use their VTuber models that show just the tiniest amount of cleavage, but then we have some of the other stuff we see on Twitch? Yeah. I don't like being hunted. That's fair. I do prefer psychological horror. I like psychological horror better than jump scares. You know? I'm definitely the same way. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Clockwork Castle.
That's right. This gets you Clockwork Castle.
It has been many years since our last visitor. Lord 2 wants to speak to you.
Okay.
Please follow me.
I totally forgot that, like...
I came out when I heard...
I totally forgot this led to fucking Clockwork Castle. I hate FNAF, but I love DDLC. I don't like... Okay, can I be real for a second? Please don't make fun of me. Please do not make fun of me. I don't like the FNAF games, but I like the FNAF lore. I could watch MatPat videos all day long. It's like Cocomelon to me. This is just a random streamer on the side of my stream, oiled cheeks, vibrating her entire body. Well, good for her. Like, here's my thing, is I won't take it up with the streamers themselves. Like, get your bag. But I will take it up with the platform. You know what I mean? That's my thing. Like, yeah, don't hate on the grind. Don't hate the player, hate the game. You know? Like, get your bag, but also, Twitch, do your job. You know? That's my perspective on it. FNAF lore is super interesting. Yeah, like when we saw the FNAF movie, literally me and David and my sister walked out the movie theater and we were like just nonstop yapping, like Googling shit. Me and David watched like the 8-hour compilation of like all the FNAF lore on the way back. We were like, holy shit. Because the best part about it is like, when we went to go visit my sister, like we literally drove to my sister's college to go watch FNAF with her, and like we couldn't find a hotel nearby because it was Parents' Weekend, and my parents weren't able to go on Parents' Weekend because they were over somewhere. But I think they were at like a NASCAR race or something. So we went to go visit her on Family Weekend. So all the hotels were booked out because it was Family Weekend. And we ended up going to this really cute like bed and breakfast, like historic bed and breakfast from like right on the Chesapeake Bay. It was really pretty, right? But it was like a historical restoration house. Hello! Thank you so much for the 2 months, gamer! Welcome to the stream. We're talking about FNAF. But, basically, what happened is we were staying at this really beautiful, like, historic house that had been, like, restored from, like, the early 1900s. It was gorgeous. But me and David are sitting there in this, like, nice-ass, beautiful hotel room watching fucking FNAF videos and eating cookout. It was honestly a very fun juxtaposition, but highly recommend watching FNAF content in places you shouldn't watch FNAF content. It's very fun. Okay. Can all my friends stay here too? Because they're... Oh. Oh my god. Influence of Coomer Sponge stream is overblown. Twitch just needs exponentially better moderation. From what I've heard, it's a lot of favoritism, you know? But, yeah, I agree. Like, I get your bag, you know, but Twitch needs to... Don't get it here. You know? Twitch needs to do their fucking job, you know? But that's my hot take of the evening. Oh my god! Why is she thick?
Who are you? And what are
Why,
you
like, the
doing here?
fucking... the Dwemer titties! The Dwitties! Oh my god! I love that.
And the tunnel collapsed. Yes, I heard it. No one has
I want to
used
knock
those
on them. I
tunnels
want
in
to
more
like
than
slap them
100
and see what
years.
kind of noise they
There
make.
is only one other way out of
Like
the
you,
castle.
wait. I need to do it. I'm sorry. Let me just. Let me just. I'm gonna do it. Wait. Okay, you fucking slap the titty. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna. I'm done. I'm sorry. I know the metal pipe thing should be as funny as it is, but it's so goddamn funny. What? Sorry, I was distracted by your great metal bahongers. Can I ask you something? I like how it tells me she's cutting me off.
The travel machine.
The travel machine. Oh boy. Okay. Well, where's the travel machine? Lahar? Bro, where did you go? Hello? Is he under us? He might be under us. Can I just jump off? No. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Stretch. Okay. Alright. I keep yawning. It's getting so weird. I think it's because I'm thirsty. I kept meaning to go get a glass of water, and then I never did. So I've just been raw dogging the stream. The master bedroom. Okay. Lamash said she showed me the travel machine.
That is strange.
Thank you for the hydrate, Bumble. Oh, wait, there's still a little bit in this water bottle. Okay, we're good. I've got enough for now.
Very few machines here are working right now, as the pressurized steam
I've got like another sip, and then I'll have to go get more water. Thank you for the posture check, Unicorn Man. Whee! That was my desktop sound, not yours, by the way. David's library is now available for family sharing. Isn't that crazy? Wow! Okay, let's see. Boners, leave space for him. Boners, be polite. We are guests. Be nice. I expect you to be on your best behavior, boys. I cannot have you fucking around like you did that one time in the Applebee's. This is a fine establishment. Oh my god. Oh my god! Let the man go where he needs to go! You're embarrassing me! Okay. God, kids these days. Okay. That's why I quit being a teacher. The disrespect! Alright, can you walk a little faster, buddy? A little faster? Where are we dropping? Where are we going? They're surrounding him. Yeah, they're about to bully this fucking man. He's not even a real man. He's a robot. And they're about to ratio him to death. I can't believe it. I don't know why I keep yawning. I'm not tired. I'm kind of hungry, though. I don't know. David made buffalo chicken dip for dinner. And where are we going? Did you just walk in a circle? Is it here? The travel room. Okay, yeah, let's go here. Jesus Christ. He did the roundabout there. But yeah, David made buffalo chicken dip for dinner, and it was the best thing I ever ate in my entire life. I fucking love David's buffalo chicken dip. Alright. Where we go? Look at their little saunter. Come in, boys. One at a time. One at a time. Next. Next. Come on, guys. Fill the room. Other people gotta get in here. Come on. Make it. Come on. Come on. Come on. They're blocking the poor man. They're blocking him. Guys. Okay, there he goes. There he goes. All right. What? Lydia?
Yes, my lady?
How'd you get here?
Do let me know if I can be of service.
Okay. All right. What's up?
Please follow me.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Try entering the machine. You shall see that it is not working.
Okay. Well, excuse me, y'all. Travel machine. Travel. Is that not the travel machine? Okay, there we go. Guys, the travel machine's not working. It's broken.
As you can see, the machine is cold and lifeless.
Just like the McDonald's ice cream machine. How do I get out?
No, the cliffs surrounding
Look at the way he
the
just
castle
spots
are
it.
easy to traverse, and now that the last tunnel has fallen in, no avenues remain.
Oh, great.
To be honest, I had thought the route you took to reach here to be blocked on the other side for a very long time now. After all, we are subject to the occasional tremor here. From Red Mountain, I believe. In fact, one such tremor is to blame for the lifeless machines.
Oh fuck, my nose is bleeding.
It was particularly violent and reached the main steam pipeline.
Hold up.
I attempted to repair
Just gonna let that dialogue play out. Yeah, just keep
my
yapping.
sisters
Keep
helped my
yapping.
efforts and drove me out.
Has he done yapping? Okay. Oh fuck. It's fucking dry lately. I don't know what's going on. Everything's dry. I need a fucking humidifier. I went to go record some stuff, and it's just, ugh. Oh, fuck. Could I repair it?
You could. Doing so would restore steam power to the castle, yes. The pipeline ferries steam from deep in Erdura, but it is easy to find.
My mouth, like, my fucking face tracking looks weird because I'm trying to, like, get the blood out of my nose. I have, like, a tissue and everything.
I saw at least
Okay.
2 sections of
Oh,
pipeline
I fucking didn't turn off the bathroom light. God damn it.
must be replaced. Fortunately, plenty of scavenged replacement pipes are lying about down there. They were intended for eventual
Okay.
use in the castle.
There we go.
Alternatively, if you know how to work twin metal, you may want to use one of the forges down there to cast your own. Above all, however, be wary of my brothers and sisters, for they may attack you. Passage to Erdura may be found through the mausoleum outside. Lamash too has the key. You will need to obtain it from her. In the meantime, you are our guest here. Please treat Clockwork Castle as your home. If you have questions, I will try to answer. If you wish for me to show you around some part of the keep, I can do that too.
Alright, let's get that key. Because we need to get the fuck out of here. I fucking forgot that this was a quest. I'm gonna be real with you. I was like, oh yeah, let's go. I thought it was just gonna be another like random cave quest, like go to cave, get thing, bada bing, bada boom, and now we're here. I'm like, god damn it, we're trapped here. Fuck. Okay. Alrighty then. Alright. Lamashtu! Ma'am. Ma'am, can I have the key? Please? I'm so cool and fun and sexy. You wanna give me the key so bad. You wanna give me the key so bad. Hi, Lamashtu.
You're still here.
Yeah. I can't leave.
I see.
The travel machine isn't working.
Yes. Then you can stay.
I don't want to. That's the point.
It is simple. You are trapped here. Therefore, you cannot leave
I
here.
wanna go.
Therefore, you must live here.
I miss my museum and my twang.
Yes, I had him give me the key. Lahan can be simple. If he had
Well, that's
decided
not
to
very
go back down
nice.
there and try to fix the pipeline again, he might not have returned.
Can I have the key?
You wish to try to fix the pipeline yourself.
Yes.
Very well. Here.
Okay, cool. Alright, let's find the way. We find the passage, we skedaddly do. That's what we do. We're gonna try to get the fuck out of here as soon as we can. I wanna go back to the museum. Yeah, we're at 6, we have 2 pounds left. We gotta make it back to the museum. I did not. We have too much junk in our trunk, besties.
Is there anything I can do to help?
I just want to go home. Okay, let's see. Where is to the passage to Narundara? Up one more flight, I think. There we go. All right. Where do I go? Where are we dropping? Okay, let's see. Oh wait, what the fuck? How do I? Huh? Do I have to do some like parkour shit? How do I get there? Maybe we go through here? And we can make our way through there? Glass garden. Ooh. Well, that seems nifty. Okay. Yeah, it just tells me to leave. There's no way out through here either. Oh wait, here we go. Oh, the mage study. I don't know if that's what we need. I need to find... Here, let's see if we can go to the front, I think. Let's see. Yeah, let's go to the front of the castle. I think that's what I need to do, actually. That's probably the plan. Okay. Let's head to the front and see if we can find where we need to be. Let me see something real quick. Alrighty. Let's see. Wait. Oh, I almost pressed the button I wasn't supposed to. I almost accidentally gifted my friend Nitro on Discord, but they already have Nitro on Discord. So that wouldn't have done much. Okay. Let's see. I think that's what I need to do, though. Because I have done this quest before. It's just been a hot minute. I think the last time we did it was with Rasha. Or, oh, that's water. Lamau. Was with Rasha or something like that. Let's see. Okay. Haha, here it is. I knew we had to go out. Okay. Let's see what's in the mausoleum. And hopefully that'll give us the key to get out. I do kind of want to try to speedrun this low-key. Just because I'm like, this... I don't remember when I was down here, how dangerous it is. I don't think it was that bad. I mean, there is dead people, but it's not really anything new. Let's see. Hopefully there's no Dwemer bullshit. I hate Dwemer bullshit. Oh, god damn it. Okay. Yeah, nothing in there. Come on, fellas. Let's get going. Hi, Architect. Are you playing Wildlander? No, we are playing Skyrim with the Immersive and Epic mod pack. That's the one we're using right now. It's currently unlisted on Nexus, if I recall correctly, just because you need to downgrade your Skyrim, because a lot of the mods in it have not been updated yet for the newest version of Skyrim. But it is very fun if you are willing to downgrade your Skyrim. Okay. Let's see. What do we need to do? There's like steam ruptures? Okay. Oh. Well, that's it's no good.
Sometimes.
Huh? It's not a Wabbajack mod pack? No, this is on Nexus mods.
Why don't you come away?
Oh, hey. But this specifically is the Clockwork Castle mod that we're playing right now. Huh?
I strike out on the surface.
Wait, what the fuck? Huh? Okay, God, this guy suck. We are a blood magic fighting stuff that does not have blood in it. I think. Okay, yeah, let's, do that real quick. Oh, boy. Yeah, why don't we get the women to handle that one? There you go, ladies. Yeah, get her ass. Nothing over here. Oh, give me your skull! Give me your skull! I need it for dark magic! Oh, god damn it, actually, just kidding. You can have your skull back. Wait, why do I have this? It's cool, but it's not a display. So we're gonna drop it just because we really can't afford the carry weight right now, low-key. I think we should be fine for now. We still have around 30 pounds left to fill, but we really need to get out of here and head back to Dragonborn Gallery because we have too much junk in our trunk, and I'm not missing out on any displays. So we're gonna have to. We might have to dump out all the bones in our backpack, which I don't want to do. I like my bones. I like my collection of bones, you know. So they're gonna have to deal. We're gonna have to find another answer there. Okay, let me see. We'll keep going. Is anything good in here? Oh, wait, hold on. Healing? Magical potion? Don't mind if I do. Let me check something real quick. Let me see. Alright, it looks like gamers, it is time. So, what we're gonna do, because there's a pair of spells for storing stuff in the museum. The summon relic storage container. Oh, I need to buy that. I think I've seen that. I just didn't know what it meant, low-key. So, ooh. Okay. Oh, I remember this now. Yeah. There's all these little thingies. Yeah, so one of them, how do I fix it? Disassembled Dwemer pipe needed. Okay, well, give me that. There you go. Okay. And then, let me see. Are there gonna be enough of them where I can keep one of them? That's what I want to make sure is I can keep one. Let's see. Because if I remember, I do remember this now. I remember we got like really close, and then I forgot. And then I couldn't find the last one. That's right. There are enough. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. Let's see. Come on. Ah! Okay, there we go. Let's do... Yeah, we don't need any of this. If we don't need it... Oh. What the fuck? Oh, he's invisible now. Okay. Alright, y'all, y'all deal with that. I'm gonna... keep chugging. Yeah, get his ass. Get his ass. 13 disassembled pipes? Yeah, I'm gonna let them hit. Oh my god, okay. God, you guys are awful at your job. Okay, come on. Any good loot? No. Any good loot? No. Okay. 13 pipes. Okay. Let's see. There's one up there. Is there any more over here? Let's see. Minor healing, minor stamina. I don't see any. We must go up then, I think. Yeah, because I think they're all on the outside, if I recall correctly. Okay, here you go. Ladies! Not really sure what she's yapping about, but that's okay. Yeah, they do damage. They just sometimes don't want to do... Oh, goodbye. Okay. Alrighty then. If you want to walk off the cliff, be my fucking guest. Okay. There's one that we need to fix. Do we have a piece for it? No, we need pipe. Okay. Let's see. Is there any other pipe pieces around here? Yeah, I see two that need to be repaired, but I don't see the pieces. Unless I walked past one, which is entirely possible. Yeah, there's another one. Okay. Lesser curse, infinite autism. You cannot give me infinite autism when I already have infinite autism. Now I have negative autism, and now I'm normal. Look what you did. You can't take my autism away. It makes me silly. Okay, I think I do see where, yeah. That's the thing is, last time I couldn't find the pipes themselves. This time I can't find the pieces. So let's see. Give me some more light. Let's see. Alright, I think what we'll do... Oh, shit! Get her ass out of here! There we go. I think we'll call it here for today, just because the gang is pinging me. It is time for me to play League of Legends. So what we're gonna do, thank you gamers so much for hanging out with me today. I really hope you had fun. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed all of the shenanigans. Once you get to 5 pipes left to fix, it'll show up on the map. Okay, cool. So I think we'll definitely pick up with that next time. If you are new in town and want to keep up with what I'm doing when I stream, feel free to join the Discord. Oh, I never showed you guys my fucking stream schedule. I said I was gonna do that, and then I didn't do that. Okay. Fantastic. Fucking fantastic. Okay, let me just, hi. No, but I said I was gonna show you my schedule, and I finished it. I actually did it. So, yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. So, I'm finally getting back to Cyberpunk this week, and the 3rd chapter of my book is coming out on Thursday. So, that'll be happening soon. If you want to read my book, it follows Vanya, our Skyrim OC. You can see her as a baby, me holding her like a little rag doll in the picture. But our 3rd chapter is coming out on Thursday. Friday, we'll be back to our Skyrim seduction playthrough, where we will man-slut all over the continent. And then Sunday, more Skyrim. But thank you gamers so much for hanging out with me. You can see all my VODs here and my other miscellaneous shit here. And we are gonna fucking Wattpad. Listen, I gotta go where the people are, okay? I'm trying to be, I don't have it done, but I want to put it out yet there, okay? I gotta go where the people are. Don't judge me. But we are gonna raid my dear friend Julian, because we're about to go play some Clash League of Legends with him. Which I understand League is not everyone's thing, but if you want to see me with my gamer pants on, with my big boy pants on, that is what we are going to do. So we're gonna say, oh wait, hold on, let me make sure I'm rating him. There we go. And we're gonna make the raid message, ew, League player, as I'm also a League player, but that's okay, that's what makes it funny. If you are subbed, you can also add some flavor to it. Here, I'll ping it right now, just, ew, League player. And please give him all your love and affection, and I will be on his stream. All right, good night, gamers. I will see you on Wednesday. Bye bye.